So yeah, well, let's see here. Where was I? So we'd already gotten to like I built a 3D printed uh engine. All right, but I was using some nickel, some steel, some brass. You know, it's like wait, what? And so like I'm gonna move on from that to be fair, because I was already talking about that for a while, and you can probably get that from for what it's worth. All the things that are out there that seem to record us when we just try and ignore that, it seems like. But I'm in my shower. I was planning on just taking a shower real fast because I haven't had one in a while. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm not recording. I normally don't record myself talking about this stuff because I talk about it out loud all the time. And it's like, all right, so like I did this thing, right? But like we're at this detailing phase of like how like essentially this whole dwarf planet was coming to kill us. And there's that going on, right? It's like, no, no, tell me more about all these other things that are also there. And I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, yeah, there is. But that's not what they're talking about right now. It's sort of what you probably did. If you just like recover that data. There is any sort of like uh, this light goes and propagates a wave like this in this third dimensional space over this fourth dimensional time space with this diffusal fractional patterns that ultimately then turn into, you guessed it, different sound waves traveling back and tunneling spiky wave patterns going backwards that then reflect also to the forward direction. That makes it so causal set theory, or casual set theory, or whatever else it is. Yeah, you can hear it for a while. It's like, well, guess what? Yeah, no, it makes it so you can see the fucking past a little better. You can see what influences of those radiating outward p values. So, like the moment it collapsed, there's only that past that can be that past. Not just because brain is like, I observed like this, okay? Not just because like I observed like this with my clock cycle frequency. That's right. My tuning of this analog process is only recording at these pole hertz rates, which can only go up to this level of accuracy. Like a single hertz of frame rate. One every single whatever amount that is. Imagine if we could figure out a way to phase it such that they fit in between themselves closer and closer and closer. Wouldn't that be interesting? Anyways, point is though, we forward propagation of waves, man. That makes it so with the right phasing and the right like, absolute passive with active help, like analog and digital tuning. Hey, good old fashioned engines. Look at this camshaft. It's an analog program running my fucking tuning software. Yeah, anyways, but like, don't worry about it because here's a bunch of that's a fucking matter. Anyways, point is, here, here's how to use that reflective wave property going forwards back up to where you are observing it can ultimately help you know the p values of backwards and the time space continuum in a multitude of different directions, brah. You can literally look into your past. Look at all of these radiating waves. You can see all of the p value. That's right. P versus NP is solved every time you look into the past. That's exactly what it is. No way for it to be uncertain. It can only be this. Anyways, That's a fun part of like physics that now you know, like no matter what. You're right. I don't need to worry about logs being changed and these recordings they have being deleted or altered or not that accurate because they didn't want to get better microphones or do any of this other compression stuff and detailing of like, how many times they fucking pole hertz rate. You even that, of course, does not really help that problem. Even with all of that p value will still be there no matter how much you measure otherwise. So you will be able to use that 100% to know exactly all that happened with me in the past and all that influenced it in even more. So why wouldn't you do it? Which now means there's no way for you to worry about certain people having bad information or redacted information or altered information, especially with AI tools. If they were able to get this, I'm sure that they would have access to and probably even use to confuse you and scare you into believing I said and or meant certain things. It's like you can have the actual truth that's verifiable because we can observe it, or a bunch of false ones that can be absolutely still 100% correct. But unfortunately, right, you didn't know. Or perhaps someone had altered randomly various things, which doesn't make much sense unless they're just trying to fuck with you. So if you were ultimately to go and find that information, as I was talking out loud to myself for hours before, just imagining things, but really kind of talking about the future and a whole bunch of other stuff for like the last like at least 4 hours or so. It's around noon or something today. It's October 29th, 2024. About almost what, like 3:45, 4 p.m. or something, as I take my shower. Yes, anyways. Yes, anyways. The character pitch is on or is it real? Let's see. So, moving on from any of that, because like honestly, I do want to move on. Let's talk about other cool things that are way cooler than that thing, because that's lame. Like it's pretty well known what's going on with me, what I am, what I like, etc. And I've hired people and finally gotten somewhere. My YouTube channel. You know, I was working on a lot of my ideas. I started off with like, oh, 3D printed fucking engine, but it's like, yeah, no, but see, like, here's the thing though. I did, but here's the thing though. Yeah, no, I didn't do it that. I didn't just get a metal 3D printer. I started off with a brass tube like Camden Owens or something like that. That is on YouTube. Right? It's like, no, 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 no. You see, I 3D metal printed my own piston head. Like, I am super advanced. I'm like, yeah, you are, bro. Like, honestly, brass, for real. That's pretty cool. Like, for real, dude. You know? But I was like, you know what the problem is? He has a fucking connecting rod that is the worst fucking connecting rod I've ever seen in my life. Like, what the hell, bro? He doesn't want to have any engine cradle for a single cylinder, which he needs to strengthen his lack of crankshaft. So it's like, you know what? I'll do it myself, right? No offense to Camden, right? I'll do it myself. I'll help him out. I'll add him. Be like, here's how to do it yourself, Camden. Oh, he probably doesn't know. But it's like, I got to get somewhere on YouTube somehow, right? Brown. Brown. That's what it was. Camden Brown. That's what it was. Brown. Different than three blue, one brown, but, it's what it is. It's like, he's a different person. That's how that works. We've never seen them together, though. Drama alert! We've never seen Camden Brown, or Keenan Brown, or whatever the fuck his name is. Anyways, point is, with 3.1 back! There's a conspiracy! What's here? We must figure it out. So I started off with a brass dude like him. I was like, oh, that's interesting. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I know. But you know what? Here, I could probably make this other fucking thing that's way fucking harder to make called connecting rod. Because he's like, no, I'll just cut up this and then weld this fucking goddamn crescent wrench. And I'm like, this is not working. I have like a sealed bearing for my bearing. Camden, my man, no. Don't do this. Camden, please. That is not going to work. Even the other Indian YouTubers are like, I at least do more than that. But she's not Indian, by the way. But it's like, and neither am I, to be fair. But it's like, yeah. But they do, though. It's like, look, I'll get this mandrel idea going. It's nickel, right? I'll print some like this, electrical. So it's got some copper in it, okay? With this ceramic, along with this filament that I got for this 3D printers I got. I started off with. And it's like, no, I got this, spray paint that's conductive, electrically conductive. I'm like, I'm gonna get some electroforming going of this nickel. And then it turned into that guy who's like, well, fucking graphite will work instead. And you know what? I have a lot of extra iron around. This is gonna be way easier. I'm just gonna do something else instead. I then got out this blowtorch and this microwave. I was like, I'll throw in some argon because fucking why not, right? But it's like, oh, I got the blowtorch going and covering it up. I got this little fucking crucible. I like fuck this. Put it on the microwave super high for a long time. I already heated it up anyways. I put a bunch of argon in there and the fucking thing. I was like, put some copper. Technically speaking, I suppose it's not really. It's not supposed to be in there. This is the carbon here. All right, this is the carbon I put in here. The very loose, fine, graphite type powder. But I was trying to make the mold. Ay, ay, ay. I hate this thing. It still works. Anyways, it's not that bad for some people, but me, it's a mess, and I don't like it. I was like, this is going in there now. You will listen to me, Grandpa. You will. I run you, not the other way around. Anyway, glass and copper and ceramic. And I started off with I put a bunch of fucking Kevlar and fiberglass through it, and I'm like, maybe I can make it out of something. I was like, wait, what if I put this into my fucking mold? What if I did that? You know what I mean? What if it didn't do the thing, like it broke it or something? What if it didn't melt the shit? What if it really was actually good enough to be forged after being cast like that? See this crucible? Remember that? Yeah. Well, this mold has a vacuum in it with a valve that's holding it back from receiving all the goodness of the crucible above. Well, there's a plunger on top that's been sealing the inside of this liquid basin of fucking iron and carbon and whatever the fucking else of that alloy shit was. So, anyways, now this mandrel idea I had is going to get electroformed in a different way. That's right. What is electroform when you cast onto it? I don't know. I just have oxygen lead. Gets hotter, merges together, I guess. Yeah. Anyways, it's in a vacuum, but it's actually like in a weird vacuum. So this is I'm gonna switch the shit out of this thing. Yeah, I got this whole thing that switches it. It's a couple of rocks and my own self for what it's worth. Watch. Yoink. Hey, it's flattening something. Look, I'm hitting it. See? You know, I'm just using like this thing that builds up like this resonance of circulation and pressure effectively to me, although that's just sound waves and a given material, but like whatever really. All it really means is behold, this is what your worst nightmare is. Probably imagining it's a bunch of gears that are set up this way that I just spin this crank and then I use this vacuum to constantly fucking move it. And then it goes and spins just the right way and sends its actual pulse of shockwave and torque back into the flywheel as it's cranking. And so it builds up a flywheel gearing system that dumps it back into this hammer that I can just choose with these things that alter these gears that I printed and then put on nickel with fiberglass and Kevlar reinforcement, then squished and then cryo treated with liquid nitrogen. Don't worry, there's some silicon carbide in here too, as well as diamond like carbon. And I fish scaled up some microwaves together. That's right. Got some microwaves, put some fish scales around them, keep them up the right way. Next thing you know, carbon heavy balls sticks together pretty well. That'll be fine. You know what I mean? Probably is what you're saying. Anyways, that was the next part, right, that I did. So that way I can ultimately get this other thing going. Which, if you don't know, I mean, this is a pretty good alloy at this point, yeah, that I can make here. So it's like an almost like too wide on one side femur bone that I'm just smashing. That's right, I'm just smashing it, doing smashing things with my smasherinos, right? But it's like, right, what happened to like the fucking mandrel? It's a good idea, actually. Yeah, I was not willing to print it again. If I think I would. So I waited and didn't do anything, and I just made like a simple fucking mold, and I took it out. That's right, that's what I did. Shocker. Yeah. I went the nice, clever, easy route that everybody has already done already. Wow, crazy. So, anyways, I did that. I went bang, 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 the ball hammer. This one has like a little fucking cone like shape to it. This one's got this little thing. Anyways, the reason why I care, however, is that this is our connection rod that we're slowly but surely piercing out under heat of sun and some basic ass grass clippings and a thermal convection heat pumper thing, otherwise known as a bunch of fucking rocket fucking stoves, effectively, that are tied together in the right way to constantly keep building up heat and pressure to burn more fuel, get hotter to be able to then do all of this cool casting that I am doing. No way, you fucking kidding me? This thing is tiny as shit. Look at this, it goes right off into my fucking goddamn backyard. This is I just removed this filter, the little screen here. Alright, and like goes right through my window out there. I don't have to ever look at it. Bang, 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 bang. Later, standard bullshit, right? getting it closer to shape. I got my calipers here. This is what I need to do. I got my honing tools. This is the Elisley or Isley or Ilia or something like that. It's like actually pretty good honing tools for what it's worth. Those are the good ones. So this is going to be, for what it's worth, a whole different thing. Give me a second. So I was like doing that, beating it up, right? Fucking getting this fucking oil all warm and fucking moving it around in this thing. I was like, it's warm, it's hot, it's ready, let's quench. My first ever casting and forging ever. So like there's that. That'll be fine. I can switch the shit out of this thing. That way I can make sure it stays in this like a pill press essentially. You have a bunch of different like little tiny uh, iron and carbon and alloy things that are going on. That they kind of get pressed together at first, but it's not like a solid anything. So it's all like, no, guess what, bitch? It's fucking Randy thought I was gonna fucking came around, smacked that ass up, just fucking straight feet that puss, just fucking making it fucking rain, scale and whatnot. I got this puller going in the middle, and then I got this under with this chisel here that pushes it in. So that way I get like this little bump here in the center on both sides, and then I get these deeper in channels that go off to the diagonal 45. That gives me a round shape here on the end that overhang this internal area side. That makes it really strong. So like these two hemispheres overhang, they're like half moons, right? But then overhang this 45 and then it creates a diamond in the center if you were to look at it, where you cut it in half. But not that way, dummy. The long way, the horizontal on a table, you cut that there way versus this other way where it was vertical on the table and then you cut it through the vertical way. You gotta remember your axes, kids. Those are important. Your allies are a big deal. Remember that. So, we're gonna move on to guess fucking what, bro? It's there, it's done effectively. I had to do this little, get those round file out. I had to get the sandpaper. I had to go drill into this area because it's just round. It doesn't have this thing. It doesn't have this little. I have to drill into this fucking stupid thing. I had to make that flat there, and I had to do this little Dremel situation. And then I could do a little puncture, with a tool, and then I just all yo, I'll drill there, and I'll hold it really still like this, and try my best, and then get out this stupid fucking straight thing that I know is straight, and be all yeah, this looks like this degrees off of zero. And so then I would fill it up with nickel, of course. Except, nah, you didn't really know that I already kind of knew what I was doing, so I was like, no, here's the thing. This is the easiest thing to do. For real. Seriously, go slow. Do not try and take that much off. Allow yourself to start with a really small hole and then degree it back into shape. Start small, keep drilling until you have your finite hole. But no, don't worry, you're not going to go that far because remember, you have to tap. Remember, you have to fucking thread. There's bolts here. You have to get the relief area. Okay, all that's going to need to be there. So you have to definitely do the work, bro. You're going to have to do the work, like I did. So I was doing that work. Testament calipers, micrometers. I got these bore gauges over here, and I was like, you know what? Give me a second. I have finished, for what it's worth, this, which is, of course, the wrong thing that you probably thought it was. It's the connection rod. That's right. It's the connection rod. Yeah, nothing changed on that one. It's still the connection rod. Here's these bearings. Wow, they were so expensive. I got them for free off of a junker. I just took them out. It took a while for what it was worth to take apart the engine, but still, free is free. Don't worry, that was fine. Those were only like 4 episodes in so far. This whole playlist series on YouTube will be a whole thing. That's right. It's gonna be something, I'll tell you. I'm starting off with brass. Brass is not very strong. It likes to bend. That's why we don't use it. God damn it. I don't care about thermal transfer. God fuck. I have to work hard in this bastard. This is stupid. It likes to splinter all the time. Like the chips it just creates, like just barely fucking do anything. This sucks. Whose idea was the brass? Fucking me, of course. Yeah, a little moment there that I went through it for a while. I was like, I'm so angry at myself, you fucker. You don't even know. It sucks. Anyways, crankshaft, I bored it. I had to do a little hone thing. That's my boring tool. It's called a hone. That definitely is able to be done up to these micrometer levels of accuracy, I suppose, because it's like, well, that micrometer is what it's going to, except a little bit more as it turned into very, very fine little, small, tiny amounts of movement for the total bore size, except it's a honing tool. So it grinds it slowly over time. Right? When it's at that exact thing, well, you can't do it. You have to do it smaller and you have to work your ass up all the way through. But don't worry. Remember when I quenched that shit and didn't even change the temper? Remember how I was saying I've never done any file work and haven't done this ever? I was like, yeah, that means I'm bad at this. I'm not stupid. Fuck this bullshit. I'm not that good. Try my ass. Someone else. Go fuck yourself. I'm making sure this is hard and it's really hard to maneuver around and do anything, let alone move out any of the material, because of course, when it's hardened fucking steel, it's hard to fucking take it off. That means I get all the practice necessary. Oh, it's just like barely even a millimeter. If that, like, is this like not even a micrometer? Have I even gotten there yet? Well, fucking fine then. I'll take it slow. That's right. Only slow. Low and slow, baby. Low and slow. Careful, fucking cautious. Do it right. Measure, measure, do it right. Only right every time. You don't have another option. There is no other fucking chance. You're fucked if this fucks up. Oh my god. Be careful, you fucker, me. But anyways, yeah, no, of course it's hard, right? Doing this thing being brittle as fuck, it sucks. I made sure it was extra thick, boy. It's gonna get into the specifications. That means it's so thick I can really get into dremels. I can do all the things I need to do. Really, honestly speaking, to get it close, because we're not actually done yet. I know. Shocker. I thought we were. No, 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 no. No, we're not done yet. We're far from done. We haven't even gotten close to being done for this thing. But still, though, it will go pretty quickly. It's a lot of the itty bitty bits and bobs and ends that make this thing a thing. Okay, so it's like, first off, the reason why it's so thick like that is because I can really, even if it's wildly like curved and more, I can get it into spec without breaking anything. Since it's thicker and it was in a, of course, orgoned environment with hot oil in a big old basin that's getting moved around with a hot pump, it is quite a bit easier to then cool this the right way. okay, without a big latent frost where one side gets colder faster and it curves. Remember, they're like, oh, I put it down vertically. That's not better. It's actually not better. Okay, like depending on many things and how you enter this, this creates a stress formational pressure wave, that changes how it's then going to cool and sink heat into various spots, especially with the cooling around it. So you have to be really careful about how you actually dip this in. It matters tremendously, which is why I have this whole other thing that like dips it in, it keeps it in a contained little fucking vacuum thing. It's like a bag effectively, but it's just hanging it like these little wires, and so like the rest of it's just a vacuum bag that's tensioned against itself. It's got a vacuum on the inside, but it's hot oil. Anyways, clamshell opens up, but then like does it just the right way, specifically to make sure that the latent frost effect doesn't work out at all because there's never-ending pumping action bringing the oil into where that should occur evenly the entire time. Great. Yay. Exactly. Great. Yay. So that wasn't too hard. There's a couple of tubes and then like a pump that blows it up and then I suck it up top with the right other tubes there to force a type of flow movement that I could then use with this to get a perfect fucking quench every time at the right temperature, with it being the right temperature on the inside because I could hold it in there and wait until it got to the right temperature and then open it. Thermal probes. You are probably going to want them. Don't worry. All I did was line this, yeah, with rubber, this fucking plastic bucket, and I put some aluminum around. That's all I did. Yeah, it was fine, honestly. It was able to handle all that weight for what it's worth. So, this is a really small, tiny little fucking goddamn connecting rod. This is so small. That's why it's so much easier to do this, to be fair. So, like, that really helps for what it's worth. It's not hard to make this happen and work. So, moving on from that, let's talk about how, yeah, that crank rod, well, no, that's not crank rod. Who said crank rod? You probably, anyways, yeah, I did. I flunked. You got it. There you go. Point is, though, here is, of course, a connection rod, which is normal. You're going to want that for your piston head, and your crank, which is also a rod, actually, to be fair, even if it's a bendy rod. I think about it. Yeah, I think it's just because it's supposed to be straight. Yeah, but a bendy rod is still a rod. And so we then hammered it into closer to shape, right? While it was heated up after the casting, which we just said. Yeah, and I went through all of that cool, like, oh, we have to get out the Dremel, but we're getting the fuller, into the center. It's round at first, and then we're just spreading that, and then we're putting an overhang with these chisels. We don't want to go too deep, we still need to be thick, right? So like good stuff, right? But it's like, don't worry, that top part, that's solid. I'm just gonna have to drill a little bit or I kind of get the relief hole going. Same thing at the bottom. I just need to make sure it curves. That's why there are round files and flat files. You have to use both of them. That goes into the round shape. This is a Pokeball. Remember that Pokeball shape? There's flats here and flats there. These might be round, these arcs that are, of course, the hemispheres, but these other areas are not. They're flat. There's a reason for this. It's called, I need to put something there and clamp this bitch. Which means I have to do the hone job and then put in the bearings so that way after I get out the Dremel and make sure that it's actually shaped correctly, then I can put in the bearings and then use this. Along with this, which is the retaining pin area for your wrist pin. That's right. You have to do that too. But don't worry, we're electroforming on this anyways. Remember how it was quenched and after you went through all of the fucking tedious, goddamn, laborious ass work that was worth it because actually you had to do it slowly because you are not actually good enough yet to do that the right way correctly? That's a thing. Okay, that's why it's going to be harder material. It's a lot harder to remove it, so it's a lot harder to make that mistake. So you're going to be fine. Okay, it's all going to be okay. Now it's hardened. That's great, but we're going to plate this. Now, why are we plating this? Electroform plate stuff with like nickel, but in this instance, it's silicon carbide, nickel, and nickel boron nitride. All right, this adheres pretty well when you do it in layers, like an etching process, and it gets rid of any inclusions because you're not perfect. Go fuck yourself. You know you're not. Deal with it, motherfucker. You for sure didn't hit this the right way. You for sure didn't pinch this the right way. You for sure fucked this up a little. There's for sure some stress cracks. Something has happened. Deal with it. This will get it all up in those cracks and crevices. And it will remove them. And that's what you're looking for. You want fully consolidated, wholly, all the way together, forged, hardened steel connection rod that's done by you and better than what you can probably buy online, to be fair. Unless you go to someone that's willing to do it, but for a pretty damn high price here. That's all it took is for you to milk some of this, which is actually pretty easy to do. It's a multiple stacking of rocket stoves, okay, that effectively uses multiple stages of continual increase of both air and burning that air with more fuel. That intensely increases the effect in a much smaller area, using far, far less fuel to heat up a itty bitty connection rod. That doesn't require you to do that after you've basically forged it more or less as well as you probably would be expected to. Which, by the way, because you can monitor the total amount of temperature with your thermal probe and this little tiny fucking thing, that means you can get it exactly the temperature you're looking for and you'll never melt it or burn it. Because you are not perfect and you need hand holding and that's okay. You need to make sure you know what it is and it won't go past that. That is fine, honestly. It's okay, me to myself, as I did this already. You're gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. Anyways, let's go through this. Right? Right? Let's do it. Let's go. Let's do it. It's fine. It's good. Let's do it. It's working. I'm hitting it. I'm getting it done. Right? Doing the whole I got a microwave oven. That's what I thought I was going to use for this, but actually, I'm going to plate that because there's no way I did that perfectly. I definitely got to get that home proper. Like, there's no fucking way it has to be straight, which is like gonna happen. Yeah, no matter fuck what. That's constant measuring with micrometers and doing it well. Like, here's a slider when printed. Remember those printers? This thing has nickel, and then it's really micrometered to hell and back. Look how straight it is. Look at the gearing for this pork monster of a flywheel drill. That's my toner. This bitch is not going anywhere. Fucking deal with it. That's right. We got the overhand, we got the underhand, we got the side hands. We got all the fucking chuck fingers you can have to make sure this fucker on the inside is as little wobbly as possible. Anything on the outside, even, this is the other one that's around it that makes it exceptionally good at passive and active noise cancellation by using multiple different lasers and field array sensors. So this one's interesting. It's electrostatic and electromagnetic pulses in between different uh, antennas. Something changes in front of it, and it's like radar waves, except for fields. That's right, but there's no light here or deal with that. Yeah, it's far more accurate. That's for sure. To the movement of air and so much more. Could be accomplished with balloons and a whole bunch of other things just floating up there that made to help you do that. But anyways, let's talk about how it's doing this instead, which is really cool. For what it's worth, right? It's like, is it really cool? I thought it wasn't that cool. Oh, no, no. It's pretty okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a single cylinder with a brass. Anyways, moving on. So, like, look, watch. Watch. Imagine in your head. Close your eyes, bitch. Look and watch. You have imagination. I know you just fucking learn how to listen better. Jeez. So, antagonizing is working. Let's go. Let's move on to guess what? But see this connection rod? Yeah. Yeah, huh? I see it. All right. So you're seeing this thing, and I got you to see it so you know what it looks like. That's good, isn't it? Standard stuff. But also, that's good in the sense that we're not even close to done. Remember the wrist pin? It can't be like this split thing. You have to push this whole thing. Retaining pin, you got to have that too. Yeah, this slide in. That was the whole thing. It's like we got it up to spec. It's fine. We got the one single cylinder crankshaft, of course. And how did you build that? I just took it from another fucking engine, bro. Are you kidding me? So fucking like, come on. Anyways, somebody made this purchase for this brass tube, and then didn't realize how big this fucking goddamn monstrosity really is in terms of thickness. Look how big the bore is. This bastard. So there's a thing that I have to do, right? Like this is the cradle, this is the whole thing, right? Like I got the bottom part, I got these stupid boom boom boom. I do like a torquey clicky whatever split beam. Split beam is really the one I have. So that's what I'm gonna do. But hey, how did you make that engine? Let's go look at back here. I mean, all you have is a tube now. Oh yeah, no, that's true. I do. All I have is a tube. But look, this is some steel. This is tubes, right? Just some fucking pipe, right? And it's all like fucking this thin, bro. You know what I mean? And then I just like bent it out, and then it's like correct actual curvature. And then it was like, no, I'm not even finished yet. Here's a diagonal, kind of like this fucking checkerboard pattern with these strings in between. Weaving them together with these steel rods that then go into these like aluminum, well, steel aluminum. Really, I kind of couldn't decide, so I was like, you know what, fuck it, I already have steel sheet, so I'll just use steel sheet. It's cheaper probably. I'll just make it a little thicker. Steel sheet gauge. I haven't cut into slots. That's easy enough. Stick them down these slots. I got these rods that go through, and they're like bolty, whatever the fucks. You know what I mean? Goes right into the plates, they're like diagonals, man, 45s and fucking triangles. Polygons, man. Have you ever tried them? We're in the Matrix, maybe. So not really, we're not. Anyways, moving on. Yeah. So let's talk about how now we happen to have this cool thing, which like supports this thing, right? But it's like here, I printed it. Yeah, sure, with this other 3D printer that has this fiber reinforced, I think it's carbon fiber, nylon or something like that, that's using the Zach Friedman's like cool this fuck printer head. Like look at this fucking printer head. Look at this thing. It's a polycrystalline diamond, he says. I'm like, oh my god, I could do so much shit with that. That's so awesome. Thank you, Zach Friedman. I appreciate that. Anyways, it's like, oh, I put holes here, I don't do infill there, I do this these kinds of things essentially with a big fucking glob of this shit. I was like, no, don't worry. I'll just throw in this copper because fuck your ass, inductive or some other bullshit with orgone running through. But don't worry, I squeezed it out. Because I ran a vacuum as I electro squeezed the shit out of it and heated it up with induction and fucking electrically resistant heating elements. Just going, how did you? It's just a, oh, it's a peristaltic pump, is it? Yeah, well, kind of ish. I went the old school route of it's a check valve that I move down and then I move back up and then it's not doing. But I do it in several sections so all the pulses entwine and then do this like cool gear movement thing that then squeezes it through in a constant stream exactingly this amount of volume per second. But don't worry, that just means they're augers effectively next to themselves in the right way with the right threading. Don't worry, I only just needed to make those by doing like this first 3D print with this resin as this mandrel. Remember this connection? Yeah, well, it turned into something else. Anyways, where are you gonna run to? Suck it. You can't run now, bitch. I was all like, what is plasma sputtering? For a while, but like not really because I kind of already knew what it was. But it's like, no worries. If I do it like this, I can electroform shit in massive quantities. I then made a vacuum chamber. That was pretty interesting. Turns out I could put little hand thingies in there, and they won't blow up if you make them out of the right material. They're a little stiff though, so like you have to work with like this fluidic exoskeleton that like locks them into place where they're at. That way it removes this, you can't bend and do anything inside of it because of the amount of pressure in the atmosphere. You have no idea how fucking big this is. Oh my god, it'll never work. Suck it. It does. It totally does work. Deal with it. There's some wires too. There's some pivoting, like bearing things, just in case. That means it's very, 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 very difficult. Oh, phaser. I'm down. Oh boy. To actually have it do any of those things that you say it might try and do, which is like, not work or something. So there's that. I was like, don't worry about it. It's just a vacuum, remember? I just make it like I do in fucking this thing called Minecraft, where I put a sponge here, and then 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 I put a sponge here. And so as I build up the total volumetric space and then condense that space with more boxes that make it easier and easier to flow in a constant moving of this electrostatic electromagnetic field effects inside of this chamber that grabs a hold of any and all possibilities of all given amounts of anything that is particle. Why did I do that? Just because I wanted to, really, more than anything. I'm just, it was a lot easier to make like a fucking recursive. They kept getting rid of like, so it just blows up like a fucking good balloon, some tensional wires and shit. And it just goes, whoop, and all of it's gone. And it worked pretty darn well. Sucked it in, got rid of itself, kept doing it a little bit better, and whoop, out. So that one was pretty fun. That made it much faster for me to just like make a basic vacuum pump work. Like, look how small my vacuum. It's done. Yeah. It's extraordinarily low amount. Like there's a way to do it, by the way, to do that. That's not what this is likely to be, but at the same time, it's as good as you'll probably ever get without having to buy like really expensive shit. So like, there you go. Cheap is spent. Fuck yeah, the fuck's given now. I was like, all right, that's done. I got that done. I got my vacuum. I did the thing with the fucking, connecting rod. That's fine. I need to make the fucking stupid, like, I printed this stupid thing out. I then fiber reinforced it as I then put the plates in the little slot fucking bastards, right? And then I made sure that everything, like, was put together, and then welded in that vacuum as I can segregate its ass off and compress the shit out of it, make sure it's really strong while it's under a vacuum, it has no oxygen, and there's some heat that I can just add when I want to, and then retension it. Look at these lasers and microwave beam lasers. It's impossible. I can't use electron beam technology. That's impossible. Look at this reflector, too. It's adding itself into a laser beam. It's so simple. Anyone can just use that and do it. They've had it forever. Meanwhile, they do actually. I'm being a bit of a dick, mostly to like everyone that doesn't know that. But to be fair, also, it's like we have come that far now. So like, well, I guess we'll have to fucking figure out how to do that. Yeah. All right then. Anyways, there's some Faraday caging. Sure, yeah, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Like, let's move on. Okay. Because it's like, look, it's fine. The thing heated up, right? You did the thing, right? You know what I mean? It's like, right, except like, remember how it's in a vacuum and I can just like vaporize like, this acid or base and pump it using that electromagnetic electrostatic field effect with a peristaltic like design that keeps it sealed constantly. That means it'll never touch the sides or stick to it. But sure, it is those ions, is it not? Able to be influenced by the right laser light, the right length of that pulse, the right wavelength, total thickness, which that one was a different thing that I had to get into. All right, so let's take a look at this. What's a fiber optic? What does that mean? It means it's a glass, that's a string, that's it. They coated it with something that way it reflects light a particular way. And depending on the type of glass and the crystal that ultimately forms the fiber, you get different types of wavelengths that it's usually better for, especially with the different thicknesses required, or at the very least, the way it gets extruded. Instead of a perfectly straight cylinder, it can be wavy and more like that to improve this effect of both filtration, attenuation, focus, bend, curve, and more. Of course, this depends on the materials and the rest of it that is going to spread out from there. Now, considering that these can be easily made at home at fiberglass levels that are in the nanometer length, that's how they impregnate your eggs, everyone. It's a thing. So, these are not actually that easily made, to be fair. So, give me a second. I have to be that guy, yeah, for a second. All right. So, this is what I'm doing for what it's worth. There are fiber optical fibers. That's that I'm using. But then there's plates here. There's bigger macro things. I just stuck some resin or acrylic in some cases. I then, drilled and slotted through it the right way. Really, really tiny little things. Okay. Then I made bigger things work like they're really small things as they get filtered through a bunch of things as they go through that, coming out effectively like it went through its own version of multiple recursive fractal pattern Duvall nozzles that eventually converge into one single type of wavelength of this luminosity wavelength, of course, as well. Yes, which I just said. And this one, which is an annoying thing, because it's not about luminosity anymore. All right, so like all of them have hit into this total value of something, whatever a photon really is, to be fair, right? Except like they kind of collapse into an entangled, almost baryonic-like state where they're all arriving at the same time exactingly as one in the same spot, which they can't do that. But then here it is, it's doing that. But don't worry, you don't have to go that hard with it. Instead, here's some crystals you can grow using any of this dirt that you find in any of these places that make these exact nano metamaterials that can 100% be plated and placed using effectively chemical deposition with excitement via UV and electrical laser wavelength guiding. It's a bunch of stupid, because they have to do that. They wouldn't really say that to you in real life. They're not really like that. You gotta remember this. All they're saying is that laser light pulses towards thing that then gets excited with UV, but also there's an electrical circuit at that moment that they're timing that then forces the exchange to occur. Very particularly, very precisely, even if the wavelength itself is extremely large, it's different in this instance because you can control the deposition with a blanket UV ray source. You're using electrical depositing at very fine atom sizes very rapidly as you can know how it's going to change voltage and current flow through that given change of material and thickness, etc. Yeah, but like, the general gist here of what I was trying to get at is all I really did was I put fucking this engine block and some fiber and I welded it effectively together, but then I deposited a large percentage of metal ions and change the molecular structure and weaving pattern of also even the fibers because I'm moving the fibers as they heat up and get moved around as a vibrational constant that allows for me with the right light to create the right occlusional moments that then allow for it to shift correctly into being woven and bonded together as one whole entire piece. Now, granted, just because that's what I did doesn't mean you have to do that. Instead, let's go with simple stuff that is likelier to be actually done by even me, most likely. Where all I did was weld it, like you said, but then I made sure there are the right holes and occlusions that would mesh up like a spongiform to the outside, like a Swiss cheese foam that I did to it, and then I put a bunch of nickel together. That's right. It's nickel, silicon carbide, and nickel boron nitride, so boron nitride, and a couple others that would build on top of each other as electricity also happens to help. And so it forms different ionic alloy chemical bonds that will grow together as a mineral crystal in the formation of this entire engine here that I am, of course, building up to atom levels of specification with inside of this solution. There's some piezoelectrics here. Yeah. There's some thermal photovoltaics got in there. Yep. And some thermoelectric, different types that are different efficiencies. Because of course I have to also add in the correct both with these fibers that also got moved while moving different lines of course, look at this. This is copper. Remember I talked about there's copper in this with the mandrel thing. Remember that I was doing? Yeah. Yeah, so let's circle on back about how it is I actually did that, because we have to do that part first. Jumping ahead isn't going to get you anywhere. Remember, I have to get this thing down to spec. It's really hard to do that. I had to print this thing. I had to do a lot of that, right? Well, yeah, like if you had to make a drill, if I had to make a drill, yeah, wouldn't I make this kind of a drill? But wait. Remember this whole thing to do with like the crankshaft? There's heads here. There's this engine cradle. I have to make really strong like blocks of metal. Remember that? Or can they be not metal, right? So it's like, look, how do I do that? Quite literally, because of course I also need to like put this together somehow. So it's like, look, I have become the dude that made an engine block that happens to force things. But it's like, how? Come on, man. I would be like, yeah, no, were you listening though? Remember that Zach Friedman, polycrystalline crystal with like all that copper and all the heating, and I squirted it out and then made the right thing, and then, you know, eventually I plated it. Well, here's the better fucking like drills, bore holes, a different type of lathe altogether, a way to better electroplate and form things rapidly with not that much electricity. It's a type of powder coating almost, if I'm being honest, that then like makes alloys essentially. Yeah, really pretty cool. Anyways, um, that means I get a circuit that forms, and so for that chemical reaction, I'm getting an electron redox flow as I deposit and make the thing. It literally makes enough energy to run itself for quite a while. I only need an initial kickstart. Much like me and my wallet. Jeez. I think about it. I can't do this. Anyways, but yeah, no, that's a thing. So it's like, look, this is a thing I could totally do. I'll just nickel it, put it together. But it's like, no, it's nickel and boron nitride and silicon carbide, along with this iron that I can turn into a depositable metal using the right chemicals, along with aluminum, magnesium, silicons, other boron, berylliums, etc., etc. So really, all I did was like, this looks like the right amount of something. If I just do it like this, and it's like really small, like this small, and I just run it like that, and then I do this thing like this, which is essentially like electrode tiny thing, essentially. And it's like, let me just fucking look at that really the right way. I need cameras, I need sensors. I'm gonna use this field stuff that I just created. I'm gonna look at lasers, an array with the field stuff that goes like really close by. I'm gonna use like a bunch of multiple larger things that then get down into the smaller thing that fucking helps me understand what's going on. I'm gonna run plasma through it that changes its voltage depending on how something's going on and what it detects. There's a whole bunch of other things here. But anyways, point is, this then means I now know what it's actually doing when I do these things to it. So I nickeled a little bit and then I dimed a little bit. Not really, but like technically a little bit. Like it depends on what we're talking about because nickel's quite a bit, US currency, but also there are other things that have that, and there's also some copper in there and etc. So I nickeled and dimed it a little. Ha 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 ha. Anyways, point is, yeah, no, here it is. There's like a super strong nanomaterial that's a multi-composite that takes in all of the electrical value input. Oh wait, are you kidding me? Let's go back to like actually probably more realistic. I did some nickel, I did some iron, I did some carbon. You get the etceteras. I then heated it up, and then I cooled it. Right, that can solid things. I put it in this liquid nitrogen I bought. Cooled that off pretty hard, and I ran some electricity through it. Yeah, it's a whole thing. I'm not really sure what my thought process was, but it's like maybe it'll make it a Z pinch if I run the right kind of current through it in multiple spots, and it'll just like compress the shit out of it while it's really cold too. So I was like, how do I make the right phasing current that can run through this but doesn't act like in any way it's heating up until I push it the right way to send it? Or I didn't do that. Anyways, I guess I just cooled it off the first time and I didn't do any of these things to make it right the first time, no matter what. So, anyways, I was all like, drill, 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 drill. This is so many fucking goddamn. Look at this jig. Drill, 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 drill. Fucking bullshit. This is. I just connected it up. There's like, it's the whole thing. It's like drill, 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 drill. That's it. But it's like, you don't want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because this fucking stupid brass fucking goddamn tube type thing is too massive and it's a whole thing and I'm fucking sticking it together with this and no matter what it's gonna fucking give me all together the whole plate job and oh yeah, I need to thin this down and oh yeah, that's electroforming. Deal with it. Anyways, point is and boom and done. Here it is. Here's the fucking super thin and it's a bigger bore now and that's right, there's more shit that's connecting it to many more things. It's really hard to break that. There's many fiber reinforcements. Took a while to fucking print that, but like, oh, and then I printed out this thing that weaves it. It's a little jig, and done. Every step of the way, automate it, make it easier. It's like 4 assembly lines. I'll use robots to do it. They're just bespoke, exactly like these machines I printed. Made it really easy. It's just like, boop. Because I procrastinated, honestly. I didn't want to finish it. I was worried. It was like, here's some holes. I poured nitride in where the cylinder inner diameter is because it's lubricative and it's very hard. And so here's also this other piston head that I made. And no way I didn't make this. Are you kidding me? I just ripped it off another fucking thing. Camden at least has like his own 3D printed and that's high tech and shit and for what's worth, but also like kind of, is it though? Like, I mean, come on, man. So it's pretty cool. I do like that. Yeah. Or was it like something else he 3D printed? I don't really remember, honestly. That's my own thing, though. But it's cool, you know. So here's this fun part that's like, oh, yeah, no, I put it all together, right? Too. But it's like, hey, remember that thing? There's fluid that's here. And so, like, there's coolant in here and it's pumping it. So I built that in. That's a whole other thing. There's a supercharger as a part of this. Okay, so this is like a double, almost like conical, almost like honestly, right? But it's like a dizzy. Anyways, if you know what a distributor is, then like you probably know what that is. But all it really means is it's a torque conversion CVT axle that runs up to this thing, which is like, got some gears on it too. That then runs to this thing that always has the same RPM that's directly exactly the same RPM as this crankshaft over here because it uses the gearing to make sure it always lands at always the same RPM. Well, this thing that's here, which is a double fan, so this is a propeller that goes into this center area that then like expands outwards. But these are little scoopies that then bifurcate them. But don't worry, they only have the ability to line up correctly in this one angle, even though they went and did all this fucking bullshit. So this is the angle it comes out at, which is where the direction of the intake is. This is the front end that runs my camshafts, which I just ripped off of these other scooters, essentially, is what that really was. Their other engines, really, more than anything. Yeah, it's dual overhead cam time. Don't worry. Because we got clackers up in here. That's right. Destromatic with VVD automatically. That's right. Nothing there but like fucking a compressor that's like supercharger, right? But don't worry, here's this exhaust that leads in. It does the spinny doohickey thing. goes into that, runs the camshaft and the charger, you know, the fucking thing that you like that goes whooshies. Anyways, I was all like, here's a steel sheet. I then boom, 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 boom. I have a heater. Boom, 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 boom. There's a ball peen hammer and the right fucking, just trying to shape it with this fucking other shit too, the Dremel. As I heat it up, it's just mild steel. And then it's like, oh my God, this is so hard to do this head. I'm not doing that. This is honestly too much work. I hate this. And then I made the other thing out of the same thing that the body is made of because I was already doing it. So I was like, fucking, okay, fine. I built this steel plate to literally be there. I didn't put the other one on the bottom and I just plated over them. It was like, fucking, it's done, basically. It's like, that'll be fine. Boom, 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 right? You know, simple stuff, you know? And it's like, here's a multi-layer steel gasket. Here's like the total volume with this head. I know what the compression ratio is. Here's the compression, right? And it's like, hey, and it's lubricative. I got these valve stems now. They got boron nitride in them. I'm all like, yeah, no, all my cooling's going to go from the outside, then it goes up, it goes down these, well, up really, actually, but it's a kind of sort of splitting. Anyways, point is, what this really means is like it cools on the outside. That's right, there's liquid there, and then it's like I can expand over to here, which is next to me, and then that's a thermosiphon, then it goes back in, and then it gets, you know, brought up. So it's like a whole thing. But anyways, that eventually will, however, get all the way up at the top, but not to where the actual heads are. That's right. You're gonna have to suck that one. This is the cooling area. This then has a bifurcator. Okay, goes up to this thing called the head. All right, that we just made. Except there's also, anyways, we did just make it. Anyways, that means it goes off to over here. Where's that? That's your fucking goddamn radiator. That's right. Look at this. It's a stack. Yeah, no, this is what I did. This is literally what I did. I was like 420 millimeter, 360, 240, 120. I then printed some shit, and it's just like Bernoulli's principle with thermal siphon effect. And it's like, here's this fucking mass flywheel. Here's how I did that one. Because it's actually just a bunch of fucking fan blades from a Duvall nozzle standpoint and diffuses out to like then be like very Tesla valve. And I can't actually do that, you know, go backwards. But it's like, yeah, no, speed up and become denser and all arrive at the same amount of speed. Up to this total level of flow rate, which you'd probably never achieve. So it's like, whatever, who gives a shit? Anyways, this is like a guitar string. There's some fiber mesh, okay? Like, you know, like there's this like literally really lightweight fiber. It's not fiberglass, deal with it. Anyways, I sprayed this. It's literally like this glue adhesive that's just going to be like really hard, but very lightweight. I was in like, it's not right at all. So I was like, yep, guess what? Here's some electroplate madness. Just the lightest shit I could get that's just like fucking stiffens this. I was like, fuck it, I'm already putting all this weaving ass goddamn. You remember that mesh? Yeah, no, like this guitar string. Yeah, you remember that? Yeah, you probably didn't because you didn't listen. Anyways, here's us now here listening now. Anyways, this is stiffer stuff that insegrities off of it. That basically means it's stuck in this position with just the right stiff material in the right ways. Then I put like that through the mesh as well, and it made it so it stiffened the shit out of it. And I used very small, tiny fibers. I had to fucking goddamn like literally print out this weaving machine for this shit, and then I had to get this bag and I would vacuum it, and then it would actually expand on the inside because of the way I'm doing the vacuum, squeezing the inside as it expands from the internal air pressure. Whole thing. Anyways, but it's only using vacuums. You're gonna have to suck that one up. There's actually nothing but vacuums here. How did I do that? Just think harder about it. Or you can do the normal person thing, and there's like some valves or whatever, and then it opens up air into that area and it squeezes in. Whatever you want to do. But like, that's not what I did. So, like, there's that. So, knowing that I didn't do that, now we're going to get into that doesn't matter. It'll probably still give you the right amount of pressure, right? You know, that kind of thing. So, like, that'll be fine. So, that means it's exactingly this exact shape for the entirety of all of these blades. of which there are 8. That's right, there's 8 blades that are shaped to be very specifically the right amounts of angle and pitch and curve, and they're very large and long, effectively. But they're stupendously small and thin and stiff as shit. Super lightweight. It takes nothing. Look at this. I have permanent magnets. I have some coils here. It's in a vacuum. I printed it around it and into that. That's right. It's going to do that thing that you hate. Make energy, man. From free energy. It's waste heat. It's energy recovery. It's very small. That's not what it's about. It's to look cool because I want it to look cool. That's all it is. So when I run it, it's like, look at how small of an amount this is. But it's like, yeah, okay, fine. Fine, I guess, yeah. Anyways, I balanced it using these things. These are called like fucking my pumps for my water and my oil. I got the squirter at the bottom. It's like, shoo, 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 shoo. Got these buckets. All right, I got these fucking, like, look. So remember the VVD I already had? Yeah. Look at this VVL. Look at this. It's mechanical, and then I alter it with these solenoids. They just have to move slightly. Look at this. This is a hydraulically fluid assisted solenoid. It's a certain amount of pressure, and then it goes when it releases. But the solenoid's already also actually trying to move through. So like it's just like, yeah, more. Do it faster. I just had to like drill and then do the right plating, and it worked just fine. And that was fun. I was like, here's my then the only one spot. This is it. This is the only spot you get at the top here. Yep, that's right. That's where the coolant comes in back in. That's right. It goes up to the fucking head, and then it comes down. Especially with that oil that's also around, it's doing the same thing. Getting cool, doing its thing. They're just vertical with some like horizontal slots that are slightly offset. But don't worry about it because like there's some smaller verticals the right places. That way it allows for air to move through like a teardroppy shape for its direction of travel. It increases the surface area while also improving the total flow rates for all the coolant and oil. Here's a hot pump. That's right, it's connected to the engine, but like don't worry, this is the thermostat and thermal probe and a couple other different thermal ways and multiple redundancies just to make fucking sure this thing opens and it goes right the fuck through. Anyways, it goes in, air comes in, we got our like nice fucking amazing, awesome, both mechanical and electrically able to be changed mechanical injector that's both port and direct. There's just some plungers here and there with some rocker arms. And then these things flow rate it a little bit more into the thing. They go that way. They go like a spring, but also do it more often and more quickly. Yeah. So like that's what that is. Anyways, that's the fuel that's going into there. Right. We got the coolant that's going into the air intake and at the top of the head, then back into the full body of the thermal block here, which is your engine. It's a thermal block in a lot of ways. Anyways, moving on. Here it is. It's going down. It goes back into the whole thing, and it fucking does its job, cooling and protecting everything. Right. Oil, this, that. I got a multi-layer steel gasket. Everything's the right spec. It's beautifully. It's way lighter than any of your stuff. It's way stronger too. It has way less fucking friction. It's cooling using the coldest air from the radiator it can get, or it's water to air cooling. That also happens to take advantage of expanding port injection to help further cool and remix with this sweet as fuck. Look at this. Look. It's a fucking diffuser mixer augmenter. I don't really care what they call them. It just takes wind in, and it goes. mixes it and vortexes it and causes it to stall and bifurcate and do it a couple of different ways. So that way it all comes back from this expanded area, from this smaller initial area, and then expands, and then it, yeah, does this cool wicking effect where these channels are here and these stators, and then like I also do like this other fucking like little middle part that's in there, they call the hub. Then, but I make sure that it's behind further and a little bit further in front, so that way they work with their overall shape here, which is also offsetting and then diffusing up to a flat surface. This, you guessed it, tube, because I'm 3D printing. Okay, so all that really means is here's a fucking flute inside diameter job. You know, like the op. Oh my god. Oh, that sucks. I got hit. This is bullshit. Why is it so accurate when you don't aim? I don't know. This is crap. Anyways, you've ever held an op. I just have to interject. If you've ever held an op, which I've never, but if you ever have held anything heavy of any sort, like here's a fucking telescope, you know, tube. Like this is what I'm gonna do. Fuck your ass. I got this perfect. There's no way I would totally be on point every time. Fuck your ass. No way. Not even a shot or chance. No one's believing you. Get over here. Anyways, to move on from that, of course, but that's the inside diameter. But don't worry, it's actually not. That's the first part of the inside diameter. That's right. This is a thicker, so it goes in further to the very edge of the tube. But don't worry, it's being supported by other things. So like that's not going to get too hot. It's not going to melt. It's going to do that kind of thing where there's a total larger surface area volume that it's capturing and it's trying to concentrate in between itself. But don't worry, again, there's stuff that's going to make sure it's still fine. It's fine. It's nowhere. Don't do it. Don't do that fucking bad wrong way, Hakuna Matata shit. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that. Yeah. The fuck is this? Anyways, that's probably what you said. So moving on, we're going to go into here. This diffuses, but it's a smaller stator and it went up and traveled up. But it bifurcated when it did this with this little overhang off to the direction of travel that you wanted to go into. As it goes into this bifurcator, that means it's in between this channel, this flute here, that's a slightly different thickness now than this initial one, which was thicker, at least a little, okay, and longer, so deeper cut in, except this is not what that is. I didn't cut it in. I printed this. This is a thing. You're going to need to get that right. So anyways, what that does is it goes, oh, there's a bunch of little channels there, like, oh, I don't know, fuel or other such stuffs, you know, like more air or this electricity or this other stuff that like cools it even harder, man, and then wicks it away even harder as it transfers more and more of its energy as heat and movement into a disordered array to a much more ordered array, using the expansion of everything and having it use electrostatic effects and electromagnetic effects to really align itself with these vortex and pulses and changes of both the temperature and more, as it also acts like this really amazing, for what it's worth, check valve. Get right. It's a check valve. I know that doesn't sound like it's a check valve. That's a check valve. Yeah, you don't know about that? That's a check valve. Here, this is offset over here. This is offset over here. As they're in the center and they're placed this far apart. That means it has to do more and more fucking splitting, going backwards and so on, getting captured by the direction of energy travel, splits and turns and vortexes and more. Oh my, but don't worry. Remember that fucking channel that we were talking about that it's leading into? That it's then going to heat up and then start curving on over into the channel that it's then got for its both bifurcations, right? Yeah, there's a splitter here at the top that then channels in, which is really just a divot that has this other little splitter that then channels in. That way it goes off into the direction of travel of the next diffuser area, except it compressed the air, except not the center. Don't worry, we got this thing over here. This is in the front, the leading edge. This sticks out past this tube. This is like a rocket shape, effectively, with stators that come off. That's right. Anyways, that means it compresses itself as it goes into this, but don't worry, there's offset holes as it sticks out with those stators, the wings in the rear. You want to know why? It's stronger, it's lighter, but it also curves in air with the Bernoulli principle, ordering it even harder into the very fucking goddamn sidewalls here, but then it has the chance to expand, removing disorder and disarray. Well, it also gets both from the front and all these other stators proceeding fuel until it goes and just cools itself even harder as it uses the fuel expanding and also getting mixed in with this air and all the rest of that electrostatic, electromagnetic. Basically, it's like a magnetohydrodynamic pump here for the ionic wind situation, kind of somewhat happening. Right, volts and amps, I'll say. Don't go too far, right? You wouldn't want any light here coming in too. You wouldn't want any of this cool pulsing, peristaltically maybe. I guess not. So, anyways, this is like just that. It's really pretty easy to print that. Like, honestly, that's not that hard. Just give it a shot effectively. Yeah. Anyways, it goes in, it goes, do, it's mixing, it's doing its thing. It's also like, hey, guess what? All of this, because you tried, go over it that way. That's actually where the fucking intake is. Just gets sucked harder into that. As that's the only actual exit it has now, likely available to it in any real aspect, shape, form, and way. But don't worry, these are bending like little peristaltic, fucking seals. They self seal. It's pretty cool. Anyways, yeah, no, that's a thing that I just bought and then stuck up there at the front of each individual throttle body, which is one. It's just one. Yeah, you have to deal with it. It's just one. That's my throttle body. It's passive. It works pretty darn well. Really? Are you kidding me? I would totally expect you to do way more. Here's an electric motor. No, not in any way. We're not doing that. Are you kidding me? No, get out of here. Look, here. This is your hydraulic fluid. Remember that? The thing that you're pumping, you're spinning, you're doing your shit, right? Yeah, well, that's part of your goddamn electric motor and coolant and oil pump combo. It also helps you have, like, you guessed it, it starts at a much larger gear, so it's quite slow, and then immediately goes up to a larger gear. In no way, it actually does the opposite. It did the thing where you didn't want it to go to the smallest gear, so it spins faster. But that's its new idle. So it slowly got there after it happened to finally start and then happened to build up enough actual extra torque and horsepower to get to the point where it, yes, can run at that gear level, which it would never have done before without an amazingly large, fucking stupendously too big electric motor. Look at the size of this. This thing's stupid. Anyways, here, hydraulic fluid goes in, it tenses it. It's a sphincter now. You get it. Yeah, it's all good. Goes through the center, does the stator thing automatically, all that shit. Flapping around like a fucking, like, oh my god, is this my lungs? I'm opening up like a biological creature doing my fucking air. So like that works pretty well. Anyways, goes in, does its thing, does pretty mixing, basically. It mixes pretty. I've just got to say, it's vortexing, right? It's coming in, two vortexes. I got two fucking, that's right, valves now. That's right, motherfucker. You don't even know. That's how cool I am. I angle these valves. They're angled with this diagonal thing. You know what I mean? There's like an extensor situation going on. You know how that BBT works? Oh, well, I did explain it earlier, so you probably do. But anyways, that's in there too. It's angled, forward. If you were from the rear of the engine, so it's forward and then off at like a 45. Anyways, point is not really that, but like here it is. There it is. Done. Comes in. Here's some stators that make a vortex induction that combines together all the way back up and then back down. That's right. That's happening. But don't worry. See this center here? That's an injector. That's the direct injector. It's a mechanical direct injector. But it has this ducting with this Bernoulli principle effect. But don't worry. You have these two angled, that's right, with these coil pack areas here for this, which is called your spark plug, which is ducted. That's right. It's part of the head. You probably didn't read all of that on this closed caption fast enough. But if you didn't know, you have to imagine really fast now that I have ducting for my spark plugs and my injector that's mechanical in the center. I have two spark plugs on the side that then throw both this racing wave, okay, of burning air and fuel along a particular channel and path. Now, that's not really a funny way to say it. So here, it's chiseled in the right way. So that way, some of it goes into the direction of travel for the vortexes, and some of it goes up into where the other ducting is, where the mechanical injector is. There's a spark that will happen as a result as it creates a current. So as we do that, it creates a plasma effect that continuously burns fuel, but also gives us back that electricity into these ground wire connections that are part of the head. This is diamond like carbon onion balls, and some fucking iridium and tungsten plated here. So that way, like, I could really make it work. There's tungsten. So they just tungsten gas, if you don't know. Okay, like, and you can heat it up and it'll just like basically adhere to something, just plate over it, but it's not really. But it's really kind of doing it, just stacking on top of itself in thin little wafers, which is not really all that great, right? So it's like if you don't do that, however, and you use electricity and the right pressure, and you basically use like some light, right chemical compound that's mixed in with the gas, then it adheres and plates really well and creates an immediate, like, sintering alloy composite. So basically, all I really did, however, was I shone light like boom, 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 boom with the right acids and bases to this tungsten gas, and it was like with electrodes nearby, and it was like yay! With an electromagnetic field too that helps with this electron beam, and also the photon wavelength area it's going to land in, essentially. But this is a really small thing. So like I could make a really small jig that did that for the head, and it wasn't super hard to do, luckily. So like that was like the easy way, because I already like had to fucking hand tremble this. I had to fucking get all this stupid shit. Like, do you remember that beginning part? Yeah, no, like that is hard. And then I had to do this. So standard do it yourself from the future talking about it. It's all fine. Anyways, point is, that's right. Here's a spark that goes in and creates this. It creates current. It does Z pinch. It does all the rest of the electrostatic. And like, here's some plasma. It immediately burns. It's constantly technically detonating in those areas, while giving you extra electricity in return. But it's feeding it back into itself. But also, yeah, depending on things, I might have decided to remember that drilling in the particular pattern here of this brass. There's nickel, there's brass, there's some copper around. And so there's a solenoid in this, which you probably didn't expect. As a part, you guessed it, of the brass tube. That way it yanks itself down using this electrical energy potential and yanks itself back up as a storage of electrical potential. That's a part of the crankcase and cradle that also happens to be surrounded with oil that's cooled all the time. Isn't that nice? When did this happen? You probably said. I just told you. Yeah, no, I did that. Yeah. I did this before this point. Remember, we were talking about how we are making this stupid mandrel set, and then it's like, that's now the block. And then it's like, yeah, no, I thought that was going to be something else with how you drill. And it's like, you're right. Remember those fucking channels I have to drill for this fucking stupid engine cradle and those blocks that I had to make like I did the engine block? And along with the other structure for the engine cradle and the crankcase, along with the fucking front cover chain, but this isn't a chain, these are all gears. That's right. This is a gear that goes to the fucking goddamn two gears that are up there that are actually changing their gears too, as well as this one, to be in lockstep no matter what to this given gearing that is actually the crankshaft that also runs the compressor. But then here's this other version over here. Okay, this is actually, yeah, no, that's what I'm doing. Anyways, here's this other version of a turbine, because that's kind of like a turbine. If you don't know, there's some stators in the center area, and then like that goes off, and it uses like this wind vane technology in the front and rear, so that way it specifically makes sure that it gets split and works very well with a given RPM of the intake blades. They go right off into this cooler that's actually part of the head, super compact, right? Anyways, I was all like, oh, yeah, no, I'll just fucking do, 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 do. This is called tack welding. Anyways, point is, you probably didn't want to hear that, but that's a part of the cover. That's right. It goes right into my intake. What do I need anything for cooling for? It's literally just my front cover. That's my entire air. Or that teardroppy shape, it has to be pointy over there. I get it all oval, comes out, like a stream out of your. Okay, so like some of us have a penis, and when it comes out, it's vertical, and then it goes horizontal, right? Well, this one's going horizontal, then we want it to go vertical, so that way it curves the right way to then dump appropriately using this reverse horn effect. So it comes out as a horn that then gets with these stators and all that kind of stuff, or it creates these rings on the inside that it's going and traveling through to get recompressed and sped back up during that change in travel and direction to arrive all at the exact same time, but also at the same pressure in a smaller actual form factor. See, doing this bleeds heat and energy, of course, right there, because it takes work energy to do that. But once it gets going, it gets more efficient. And so it gets better and better at doing it, especially with the pulses here that reflect off of those different things to go back into the system. Remember that whole channel that I was talking about? Well, that's over here and it's going to blow some more air in. And it changes what the pulse ratios are here as it flows as a flywheel of air back into the single, you guessed it, intake that is not really much of a throttle body, except it's sort of a passive throttle body, isn't it? More of a Valtronics-like design here when you start it up, as it's run by its valving of the VVT, VVD, and VVL. Now that L is interesting because, of course, that's really just based upon the buckets and what angle that they're tilted at, as well as their shape and where they're rotated to. With already a mechanical passive, it will do maximum power possible for all the duration and more. But don't worry, that has a buffer which requires you to effectively do something to this area in the head to get past, you guessed it, idle. Idle is a passive thing that will be there anyways. It's okay, but also it's not necessarily, because you have to do somehow, some way, something to trip that bastard to get it to fucking rev. Otherwise, it won't. So get wrecked if you have that brake. But mine hasn't broken because it's hydraulic fluid, and I just use like a potentiometer throttle effectively. Because it's not. It's actually me just pressing on it with this little fucking plunger out fucking thing as I rotate it, and so like that changes everything mechanically, and then it works off an electromechanic passive analog multiple layer design. Now, why is that? Because I don't need a lot for what it's worth. This is just a basic fucking engine. So, anyways, all I did was I put in this, which is essentially an analog circuit that runs like a relay station that repeats certain macros. And you can change that based upon these sliders over here where the handlebars are that change your tune. Fully 100% contained. Remember that electricity for the spark? Yeah. Well, there's battery that's essentially a part of, you guessed it, this thing down here where the crank is, and the engine cover at the front, which is cold enough anyways, because they're flat packs. So this is fully mechanically timed, but remember those capacitors that you probably need in these coils, right? Remember that analog circuit and the multiple coils? And like you have to stick that somehow in. Anyways, these are your two leads, and you just cover them here and you just add that in, and because they're part of the actual engine itself. That's right. Suck it up. Remember this whole fucking, cool as hell, right? Fin array that I talked about, right? But it still bifurcates off to a goddamn radiator, right? That thing? Yeah. Analog computer. Covered with stuff to basically prevent chips and rocks from really killing it. But don't worry about that because go fuck yourself if you think about it. You can't change anything about it if you fuck up any of these connectors. That's right, they're all analog circuit shit. Like D D D D D D D D. So it's electromechanical effectively, and it will work really well, and they're grounded and all the rest of that. But like, it's still what it is because after a while, you end up going, "Hey, I printed that, and then I did that. Damn, I am good. Look at my boron nitride fucking goddamn piston head. I filled in this nickel boron nitride and silicon and all that for this fucking hardened steel. Remember that? I was like, oh yeah, I haven't even gotten to the end of that connection rod. Watch this. Here, there's a liquid nitrogen thing, but I had to nickel plate it so that heat tempered it technically. But don't worry, I'm actually just gonna fucking reheat it and then quench it again. You wanna know why? Because I'm afraid that this thing won't fucking adhere right, but it's in a fucking goddamn argon environment, so I heated it up and then I just stuck it back into the stupid fucking oil. But don't worry, it's not even technically totally to its final spec because I added a little bit extra just in case. So, anyways, I was like, all right, but don't worry, I'm going to go temper it now and then I'm going to cool it really hard. Except it's not a good idea to rapidly cool. So, like, it turns out it's actually better to use a heat pump, make it super cold in there, and then, like, effectively put some sublimating off, you know, CO2, and then the CO2 actively actually in there while you rapidly suck away the CO2. Yeah, with a vacuum pump effectively and a compressor. That way it gets even colder faster and you can press the environment. So, like, this is a bigger box, I got to a smaller box. So, we're condensing that too while we're doing this. It's a bag. Yeah, if you want to know, I got a bag and then I use this technique and I shrink the bag. Anyways, that's what that was. Because that's far more realistic. I might be able to do that. So, anyways, the fun part, right, of like, all right, so it's pretty cold. Shove it into liquid nitrogen, right? But this is like already pre-cooled, pre-chilled with it. This big basin of vacuum and fiber and all the rest of the fucking chambers that I had to dig this hole in the back of. That's right, you had to dig this hole. Remember this hole that you had to dig? Yeah. Yeah, you have to dig this hole. Here's this dome. It's a multi-piece dome. That's right. You have to do that. Remember these other fucking ring holes you have to dig? Yeah, you have to do that. Yeah. That's why I just dug a really large hole and just said, fuck it, I'll just fill these parts up and I'm just fucking done with this. I'm just gonna vacuum everything out and get it in there, vibrate it, get the fucking like little stupid bastardized goddamn fucking like foam insulation and fucking fiber insulation and fucking vacuum shit and fucking I plate formed around it. I shouldn't have done that, to be fair. I'm not kidding. I should not have done that. I vacuumed it. It's cold. Okay. And it has no water in it. There's no more water. It's not possible to have the water in it. There's no more oxygen. It's very compressed now. I then electroformed and plated a good skeleton so that way it looks very professional. Especially with this dome part that I did with this bag that I just had to fucking get in there and it's just like, oh, it's just swimming around in mud and water effectively. And it's just like, put this down here, put that down. I'll just fucking make this happen. Put these little fucking stupid things that hold it in place. And it's like, these solar panels and shit. I got this like fucking bath of shit, and it's like, oh yeah, no, let me just fucking use that other dome there. I'll just fucking make it happen. Keep the fucking vacuum hard. You know what I mean? I gotta keep vacuuming it all the time. This thing sucks. It's hard to fucking make. It's the worst, actually, a little. But it's not too bad. It's done now. Here it is. That's right. You heard me. That's the thing that just got pre-chilled while you fucking did this for a single stupid fucking goddamn connection route. That's right. But don't worry, you're gonna use it for so many other things. It's coming up. Remember that engine block? Because we have to justify that. Okay, we do. This engine block got it. The camshafts got it. Everything got it. Everything got cryo cooled. Slowly brought it back up to temperature under different pressures, multiple different. I had to cool it first, and it's at this pressure, and I had to do it at this pressure, which is actually higher pressure, and then a 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 higher pressure, and a higher pressure, and a much higher pressure, which is the final pressure. There's 10 actual stages that I could do, but I didn't do that. I only did 5 stages. You know what I mean? Because it's a whole thing. Anyways, point is, boom, it's done, it's cooled, then I got it back up to that temperature at different pressures, slowly going from the highest to the lowest pressure, slowly, and changing the temperature slowly. That's my staging to get it back to regular atmosphere. That's right. I had to do this for every single part. Woo-hoo! It was worth it though. Look at this. Look at this. It's for sure real fucking strong. Look at this shit. It is. Look at. I made a chip. I made a small one. Remember that when I was like doing that earlier, and I put it out on my YouTube channel. Anyways, point is, here. Look at me. Look at this. I'm just fucking scratching it with this little fucking helper exoskeleton, effectively. Except I'm not holding it. It's the whole thing. I'm just holding it in the back. It would be terrible. Yeah. Anyways, I'm just cutting tungsten like it's nothing. Meanwhile, yeah, I probably think most of you aren't going to do that. To be fair, but it's like if you want the liquid nitrogen, you can do it this way. So I didn't give you the pressures because I don't really want you to make a bomb. It's the thing. It's dangerous, and that's kind of what's up on that one. So there's that. So I made that, and it didn't fucking at all have any problems. But let's go to something that's probably more realistic, with most people will most likely do if they wanted to do it. Unlike me, I guess at this point, because I did do that. I built that fucking hole. That's a whole thing. I'm doing that. Yeah. Oh yeah. See, here's the fucking video. Yeah. See, remember that? Yeet. Just imagine it's there. It's a whole thing. This is the journey we're going down. Suck it. But like, here's a more realistic one. It's far more realistic in all ways. A bunch of chemical deposition and a box of plastic that you also fucking did this whole thing with, and then you just turned it into round sphere, dude. So that way you can handle even more pressure trying to crush its ass. It'll be great now. Look at all the fucking arm stuff that I showed you how to do. This wire and hydraulic fluid and these fucking arm things that make it so you can use this vacuum chamber with your own arms and hands. Look how fucking good it is. So I was like, it's cold now. I insulated it. Oop, whatever. It's fine. It'll be okay, honestly. And here it is. Standard cold treat. Oh, stupid fucking shit, but great shit, honestly. That'll be great. That's probably what most people are going to do. Just say, pour it in, fucking leave it alone. Let it come back. Yeah, it'll be fine. Meanwhile, my ass build a fucking huge vacuum forge, fucking goddamn insulated thing. That's a crucible, basically. This is how to do it. Oy, 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 oy. I don't know what the hell to tell you, man. It was like, all right, well, I have to pump it anyways. I have to keep. I want to keep this. I'm gonna fucking siphon it out. You know what I mean? I'm gonna fucking recompress and cool it. I'm gonna do that. Fuck that bullshit. I paid for this. When it's already that cold, it'll be easier. So it's like, fuck that. I'm gonna totally do that. Yeah. Yeah, the liquid hydrogen stuff, it totally helped. It was like cheese mode after a while. Like it's so used to making liquid nitrogen with this fucking liquid hydrogen. I just have to get this back. This is my total thermal actual battery limit to cooling. You know, as a supercharger before I have to get it back in. So it's like a capacitor, like a super capacitor, basically. Here's my cooling envelope, essentially, which is the total surface area with the total amount of actual energy that can be done into any sort of given media. You know, directionality versus like super cool stuff that's called ordering and organization, non-chaos. So this is like a fun part that I did. I don't know if you like it, but I did it. This is how I'm doing it. Give it a second. Come back here. You're gonna have to listen. It's fine. Don't worry. Okay. Are you listening? Fucking jerking your ass around. I did do this. However, it's like, all right, so when you're at higher temperature, no, this is not temperature. Don't worry, this is altitude. I got you though, didn't I? You then have light that goes onto your skin, right? But then like there's this wind, it's cold, right? It goes, I deposit some of that, right? It goes, but like I'm taking more from you than what I'm putting in, right? It's essentially what it is. It goes, and then like this thing goes below it. It's like, here, give me some more. Right, except like there's this thing called oil and dust and like skin cells and like fucking water that's there and more reflectivity, albedo factor more often, right? And so it goes, and that blows up, right? So it's like light gets up in there. It's already vibrating anyways. There's an electrostatic effect, effectively. There's some electromagnetic from like the current that's moving on your skin at all times as the wind goes by. And then it's like, pull out the water. And then light gets in there and you have more UVs, right? And it's like, and so like immediately likes to vaporize and then recrystallize as it's like fired into itself as it vaporizes off. And then it gets massively chilled and it's like, nah, just in this crystalline form. And it's like super cold. And so then it touches like other like a light and frost effect, but a reverse as it goes bang, 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 bang back onto your skin. So it's like cool even harder. Allow me to expand from being my icicle self. That's ice formation, really. Anyways, anyway, so it gets really cold on your skin way more rapidly when it's cold wind. So that's essentially what I'm doing, but I'm using light and I'm using, you know, expansionary refrigerants. But then there's also like, guess what? This is a gas. There's vibrations, there's expanding of this light. So remember that light? It goes, an occlusion. And then that bends this and it goes back and does all this cool stuff. And it goes like light expression, order like this, and then go get more excited and drop into a lower state where there's less spin and less movement of all sorts. Only do this as a Bose-Einstein condensate, like extremely fast movement, where you're in a heavily condensed state. So it's basically almost like a baryon, where it's as close as you get to you as at all points in time. And then it's all like, don't worry, I have a thermal envelope, right? But it's like, yeah, I also have this thing called a fucking hydrogen liquid gas. And like, there's electrons that are going to flow through this. Remember how small that shit is? Anyways, goes through, cools it off even faster. Look how fucking awesome this is. This is so much easier. Oh my god. The block has been nitrogen cooled. Fucking whole thing. Right? Like, oh my god, what am I doing? I just wanted to make a cool radiator. That's all this is at this point, I'm sure of it. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit. So stupid. You don't need it. Like, for what it's worth, but it's like, behold, I had very high pressures. Look at how cold it got, and still, as I pumped it around and chilled it continuously under more and more pressure. Whee! It's ding! But don't worry, I brought it then slowly back up to temperature under regular pressure conditions. This has for sure made absolutely certain it's basically like this is what it should probably be like. And now I didn't make a mistake. Even though I'm piss fucking poor at making any blacksmithing happening or any sort of fucking like I'll mill and tool this bastard. This for sure has gotten to the point where that is definitely correct. It's a very good thing that I did. I built this. Look at this. Look how cool I am. That's right. Look how cool I am. I did this. Look at my block. Look at this fucking block. Look at this fucking block. Look at this fucking block. It weighs like nothing. There's vacuums in here too. I was like fucking all this other shit I have put together. Like, look how fucking light this is. It's really thermally efficient. Look how fucking good this is. Look at this shit. Look at it. It's fucking going like, yes, electric motor my ass back up for my flywheel every time as a pulse sequence. Look at this fucking thing. It's awesome. I got a super turbo over this fucking axle. Yeah, no, you thought that was good. Nah, it's not axles. Get out of here. You fucking what? Not axles. No, don't even try. These are rings. Look at them. Look how cool rings are. Remember rings? These are ring turbines. Look how cool these ring turbines are. They go into the center axle that's over here. It goes, and it does like all these fucking like, look, I'm a spaghetti monster. I'm equalizing out all of my directional energy to every single turbine. That's right. Rings, donut shapes, toroids. Exits out a little funnel into the fucking one in front of it. But don't worry, it's sealed anyways. It's all good, baby. It's all good. It's one axle, but like it's not though. You can see it goes through and it goes like, no, this is a fucking vacuum, can't be here, but over here you can be here. They're like, no, don't worry about that. That vacuum pressure, that's going whoosh and making it faster when it does that, because it's like, don't worry, I need to be there. Get me there. I'll do whatever it takes. And so it goes whoosh. It's using cycling of different vacuum pressure waves through a given pressure of gas moving in a very clean manner, using each and every single pulse to arrive at exactly the same distance away equally in this small, easily contained and printed space. But don't worry, it's really just one. So I just synchronized two of them and delayed one of them, effectively. Because this is a single cylinder, remember? So like it's a whole thing, and like this makes it so I don't have to do the stupid turbo thing that you think I have to do like that. Instead, it's just one turbo with a twin scroll and these variable geometry turbines. That's more like an hourglass, but it goes like, hey, that's right. I am a teardroppy scoop thing that goes off into the sides that then happens to have this thing, which is a middle hourglass. Yeah, that's in the center that's counter rotating to that as it goes through the stators off into this other side, which is actually a different scoopy thing, which is really not that. Remember those stators that are coming into the tube for your intake that have like all these overhangs and little holes in them to like properly suck air through? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's this in the rear, but it's like, no, do more work energy and fire yourself this direction for every pulse. But don't worry, I had it loop back inside of the both the tube here, this exhaust pipe manifold, basically combo in one. With this is the port, exhaust port here, which is combined with this whole effect with the fucking turbo, because of course Why wouldn't I, right? Anyways, that recycles some of that air back in to constantly keep cooling more in and get reused again. So I'm increasing pressure, static pressure, and having it constantly bleed out, even though it's a pump, 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 it's not doing that anymore. It's going whoosh constantly, making the turbine more efficient as a result, as its job is to take that pulse frequency difference and smooth it the hell out. That's right, electromagnetic interference people. You probably know what this is. But in gas form. The skin effect, but on the inside. Oh no! Momenta direction for force applied with acceleration in this mass that's squared. Not the mass, the acceleration. Deal with it! It's a pump, bitch! Direct. It unbelievably wrecked, bro. So let's go. We're gonna move on from that, right? Like that goes in, it does this circle thing, it does the whole thing, it's the eye, whatever, fuck off. All right, we got it. Right, that goes off into this thing, which is just this resonator cooler. So it's like here, at this temperature, it's gonna get really hot, right? But like actually we don't want that. That's really bad. We don't want to do that. So it's like spread out and diffuse like this and cool and then condense and go really fast off into this area. So most of the time, people go like, "This horn into this reservoir that flows like this horizontally will be just fine." That is not what we're doing. It's still horizontal, yeah, and there's still verticals with diagonals that go run through them. Of course, as it resultantly spins and becomes thinner and thinner and thinner and more condensed and faster as a result. But don't worry, this is the fuser horn effect, effectively, that goes off into this perfectly fucking. Yeah, that's right. This is an air-to-air heat exchanger. Yeah, right. That's also my catalytic converter on the inside. Double wrapped with piezoelectric and peristaltic pumping action. I want to get it all in one, baby. Electricity. Remember that radiator I talked about? Remember the radiator that's essentially a part of the engine, anyways? All of this produces electricity. That's right. Deal with it. That'll be fine. It's so easy to make that. I just have to go through all of these steps. I was thinking about driving for answers for what's worth. I don't know if he'll get 2 hours into this, to be fair. I'll add him, I guess. But it's like I saw his rotary vane. I'm like, is the fucking circle hemisphere part supposed to be on the inside? Right? Like I know you're trying to do like that potato chip thing where it bends, but like that's not gonna. I mean, it'd be better if it was shaped and you put some grooves, like really specific diameter and size and shape grooves that are in there, and then on that curve side, you made like little holes essentially that line up with that will go and slide in, and essentially not allow for it to ever come back. Then you can put a bearing there and this will run through it in multiple steps, areas essentially while you do this. Now, what that does is it means that there's oil there and they always stay inside of that groove and always turn and are fully sealed. Those bearings and yeah, it's always running along the side of the thing with oil, which cools it anyways. But don't worry, see, these are two pieces. So this is the stator and the stator, like gear over a gear. That's right. It's like a star over a star. Anyways, there's a hollow area with a bigger star. This is a two-stroke engine. Remember those things? Anyways, this moves as it rotates, and it happens to create an impeller design with this fuel that's coming in from the center and then onto the outside. As it's shaped like this and goes through these grooves with these stators, that's right, you guessed it. It makes sure that these slightly offset pumps and where their bearings are work perfectly in tandem to act in their best interest to allow for both fuel to come through as it gets squeezed and compressed and then ignited a little bit before it's top dead center, meaning total compression area, and a little bit after. Squirts it in, creates these rotating waves. This one over here is a teardrop. So these are little channels that allow for some of it to get diverted back into the front while a good amount start to leave. Now, the reason for this is a scavenge effect, that's right, but it's also because, guess what? That extra force is also going to continue propelling it like a turbo immediately. the movement of the exhaust, meaning as it goes through this and gets faster, will absolutely give you more power. It's an immediate turbo effect with a scavenge. Don't worry, these blades, yeah, you just had to like go with a Dremel and then like, fucking, that kind of thing. Right. And it's like, don't worry, because like they're always, fluidically bearing, and they're just sliding on bearings essentially that have fuel. That doesn't need to be any oil at all in it under incredibly high speeds and incredibly high pressures, which is great when you go to higher RPMs. Remember that exhaust? Yeah, that goes into this turbo that I just talked about a little bit. But that's okay because that also helps with getting way more. Remember this oil? It has to cool it, right? Well, yeah. Okay. So then, like, that goes over and then it goes do, 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 right? But it's like, it's a pump, right? No, no, no. It's kind of a pump, but it has to get cooled, remember? So this air coming in goes through this double vortex chamber that has hot air go off one way into the exhaust with the already kind of somewhat cool because it's a turbo, so like it's just gonna move things. And yeah, anyways, point is that exhaust has cooled a little bit as it goes into this as a Bernoulli principle augmenter stator offset. So there's a ring, it goes into this set of stators that goes over, then it goes and angles off into the next set, which it's also pushing with these little holes and channels and grooves as a vortex as it joins it in as it goes from a larger to a smaller diameter and then remains going that diameter. Now, what that means is it acts like a Tesla valve, right? Because, even though that does do that, I still put this ring here. It just moves based upon the total like intake, amount that it needs. It's a vacuum effectively that moves it. So that way it's just a ring. Yeah, it just goes over that. Yeah. It's like it's a blow off valve, right? For all the hot air, but don't worry, the fuel. Remember, I want to expand it, but I can still compress it into this thing with my impeller. That's right. So the air came in, cooled, of course, but this oil that was also cooled by using the fucking expansion, that's right, of the gas. That's what I'm saying. After I got a pre-cooler with this dual vortex fucking diffuser Deval nozzle bastard that I did make. Yep, I did that. It's a Deval nozzle, and I go over that way. Fuck off. It's effectively a reverse fucking turbo. It's like, he go in that way. Go out this way. Cold come out this way. Exchange properly. Whee! Anyways, that one was fun. It's way more efficient now as a result of that, especially with the expanding gas that then goes into the oil area. That's right. It got pre-cooled with that as well as the gas expanding, but don't worry. Yep. It's going from this volume and then getting tapered into this size volume as a diffuser Deval-ish, but it's not really, it's just a funnel. Anyways, that then goes off into where you guessed it, expansionary radiator that is a part of both the housing, but also, you guessed it, I know this is a separate radiator. Yes. Why? I just felt like it. I wanted to print a tiny thing that was a part of my intake, that's a part of my filter. I just exhaust the heat out into the exhaust all the time and have a thermal envelope battery capacitor like thing called the fuel. But don't worry, the radiator does a lot of work here because, like, of course, it's going to expand and do all of its things, and then it comes off and it gets compressed. And it's like, this is heat and compression. And also, I still have like that thing called, like, I don't know, this flywheel, I guess I need. And so, like, it's just oil over here, and then, like, this thing's over here, just doing, like, its thing with leverage, essentially, and it, like, goes, I'll go a little further out if I need it. So that way, it's always got enough flywheel. It's good stuff. Don't worry about it, like, that's because it's impellering air as it comes through. as it's a heat expansional change peristaltic-ish kind of double stator in the front. So stator in the front, stator in the rear, as this then spins with that, which actually helps capture more air and use that effect to a higher degree of advantage, especially since it's pulling hot air in and then it's exhausting it out. But that acts with these things, which go around and then recirculated back in, as a recirculating flywheel of sorts for the mass, kind of like that Bernoulli's principle, very lightweight fan hub thing I made. Remember that with the ducting that then allows for it to be very properly positioned? So that way it goes from this angle of stacks of radiators, which is flat and is stupid, to this round thing that's really good for this, while making sure it always arrives as a constant, never ending stream of air. And it's Tesla valid back down. Now, anyways, that then is essentially what this is right now that we're talking about as this radiator, but also as the, of course, well, I suppose it is a radiator, isn't it? Right? Oh, but don't worry. Remember that? That's like a, cage around that's just bolted together, two things, for that's, the ducting of the fan, right? But it's like, don't chill too much because, yeah, I know it's hollow. And I did do that thing where I put some nickel, I did the stuff. It was all like, wow, crazy, whoa. And there's some fans, heat sinks essentially, and you guessed it, there's fluid going through that. It cools it. That's right. Don't worry, there's fluid through the channels too, as that comes in, right, from this one that's hot over here, and it just rapidly puts that in if it needs it right away, right? But then this one that's further away, well, that'll join in with that. Yeah, so like all of that comes back in and cools directly into where the you guessed it, hot spots are, and then moves and gets pressurized as a result of that. Remember this bearing I talked about? Well, they're like basically this thing called like connection rod bearings and bearing journals for cranks. But if I just bend the right way and shape the right way, which it's not really bend and shape the right way, it's really more like break the right way, is what it feels like. I just had to boron nitride it. There's a whole thing. Point is, that allows for the veins here to be boron nitrided as well and always be very, very well sealed. So remember that it's like a hemisphere, right? That we did with like this the hole, but it's not really a hole. It's really a dip, right? And we want to do this little overhang, right, to this mushroom kind of point, right? But it's like we got to do this the right way, not the wrong way, right? Remember when we put in those bearings? Yeah, yeah, no, I do. Okay, so those bearings are interesting. Watch this. This hooks into that, and it makes it so that all of this fluid can't go all the way into the fucking goddamn cylinder. That's right. That's right. That's what that's doing. But it's also plated, so that way the gapping's always quite good. Fully sealed, and it never needs springs anymore. Behold, it's an impeller pump for your fuel, but also for the air, but it's also pressurized. But don't worry, it's also fuck your ass, bitch. I didn't even bother. What are you kidding me? I'm not even gonna do that. My name's Driving for Answers. I think I'm too fucking like cool to do this for some reason. Even though it's not like I'm just calling him out a little bit, it's just a little cheeky. It's not that. There you go, calling out Driving for Answers, this motherfucker. YouTube drama today. I'm laughing at it. But anyways, it's a whole idea. But it's like, there you go. It's like, here, this will work. It's cooling it on the outside versus the inside. All right. But like, it's sealed too. Okay. I got the fluid that's called the fucking fuel. That's going to heat up. That's going to increase the amount of pressure. This keeps the veins both lubricated and cooled while you pressurize it with this brand new technology, which isn't really brand new, it's just a compressor. I don't know what the fuck that is. Anyways, moving on. So remember how it intakes, right? Remember that? Like you can get a little bit more distance, even though it's going through this groove, and then you have to do like this little tube thing as it goes through with this little recessed hole, jigger bobs. But then go to, hey, that's all of that fucking like almost basically kind of level of fuel, right? But it's like then that's tuning, just move this, move it in and out, and then that alters like the amount of total slide and whatnot. So this is the angle of these two gears. One is over this other gear. Now, when you know that that's going on, this thing goes into this chamber and then it moves like this as this thing slides with this body housing. As a result of this, because we can position this within these housings that are bearings and seals, oh my, that means you get the correct tolerance for all of your gapping for your two-stroke engine that suddenly moves just the right way and allows for a nozzle to form into these chambers that are ducted, of course, and it goes and fires them through, which then goes through these other stator areas on the vane here, as they're pretty much locked in track anyways. It allows for them to then have an overhang and a mixing vortex constant fluidic flow effect under very high pressure, using that very pressure and the movement of the air, anyways, even coming in to improve that effect. As it builds more pressure outwards, of course, then I add in fuel and then I still have the spark, which is literally just this gapping at the top. And then I ran this tungsten and iridium line and some copper here for these veins that went into this gapping area that is the Bernoulli principle Venturi effect mixer. That's also a diffuser that improves, that's right, the speed of it coming out and moving inside of this chamber and mixing quite well. So this gapping is then, as it gets faster and faster and moves more and more quickly, really good at suddenly being able to pass through under even low voltage. So it automatically goes and continues using this electromagnetic, electrostatic, electron redox flow, electron hole, almost like, I guess. But it's really circuit technology, effectively, as chemicals happen to react, and I do the same thing over again for this rotary vane idea that Driving for Answers started with. But I then said, hey, what about this idea? What about this in my head? And I'm going to record it and then I'll send it to him after fucking 2 hours of talking to myself about other things for what it's worth. But I'm sure he'll see it. So no matter what, it's going to be a thing. Anyways, that'll be interesting one day. But here you go. Here's that rotary vane that then uses more scavenging intake as it rotates to draw more in, and then it compresses itself, and it goes and burn and expand. But don't worry, expansion over here equal more movement torque, effectively vibrational vacuum scavenge energy. The faster it goes and the hotter it gets. Look at this, it's even got a turbo. It's actually technically a super turbo, as this works off of, you guessed it, this thing, which is the impeller, because it obviously has to do something, right? But like that's because as it goes through and it intakes, it needs to spin up fast enough. So here's an electric motor, but it's actually also a part of my compressor that is also actually a super turbo because you guessed it, it's part of like this dizzy axle sort of, you know, gear system thing that then just goes whoosh, which is not really what that is. It's a tube effectively that has just had inside diameter gears cut into it, and then like this outer pumpkin in like three spots that I used that then sits in a bearing housing. So it just connects like this and it does this essentially really well. And I never have to worry about it as it helps pump both the oil, but also it helps to do this thing where it connects the crank to the flywheel energy of the intake after it also works off of this other flywheel. So that way it's really efficient. Anyways, that is necessary because I need enough intake to push hot air from these vortex I have to induce. So like in reality, I'll spin it up, but then it's like, oh, I'm dragging air through, not firing anything. Remember that analog thing I was talking about? This is a part of that. It's a whole thing. This is the injector. That's that, but it's like, no, I don't want you to inject. So like, this is effectively just pulling it during startup, and then it moves it back into place. You know what I mean? Remember that? That's the injector. That's the pump. Some of you remember, some of you probably didn't. So that goes in. It goes. really rapidly fast, right? Remember, but that's cold and it's building it up as pressure until it eventually goes, and I'll take some fuel. But of course, it takes a little bit to do that. So if it's going to start off on a larger gear and then in trying to get it down to that smaller gear, it's going to start that up, use that energy, and pulse the right way to keep it sustained and spin it faster under a higher and higher gear load. It goes because of course it doesn't have a lot of fly. Anyways, point is there is some flywheel here. It's okay. It's going to be a high rever, like 3K probably is what the lower RPM is limit for this for what it's worth. But that's what that is, and that's okay, right? Because it's a small engine, anyways. Like, come on, jeez. But it really intakes quite well, right? That's good, and it's using the thermal efficiency to its highest manner. Not really technically, but that's not necessary. And it works. It's a working prototype. Like, come on, it'll work. We just have to work on it tirelessly. We have to get out these tiny dremels. We have to fucking slowly cut this in the right amount. We get like lathes or something. I'm sure we can find a CNC maybe. Something. Not constant tiny ball dribbles. I don't want to do that. So, anyways, the vanes you press in, there's a little keyhole there, and that's part of the front facing thingy, that like it sits in there, you know how it's sitting in right. But that means like you get this nice tool thing where like of course means you can slide the vanes in and then they sit within the respective slots correctly, you know? And then you can fill it up with oil. Yeah, no, that's the sequence. You have to put in the vane valves effectively, and then you have to put in the oil. There is no other way. Go fuck yourself if you think there's another way. Fill it up with oil, then rotate it by hand, and then do the electric motor. You want to get that going. And it's like that will get it seated. Take everything apart. Yep, nope, you know where I'm going. This is engine brake and oil and assembly lube shit, effectively. Damn you. I know. We're not done yet. Suck it up. Uh, Anyways, after doing that, because like, yeah, no, that's what I would do. I'd suck it up and fucking do it because it's like it's worth it. It makes sure the seal lasts longer. Everything gets deposited the correct way. It's the right thing to do. So fuck it. I'm gonna do it. I have to, you know what I mean? It's like, look, here's all of this. I can print a lot of that. I can kind of make that. I can kind of journal, a lot of this, like, effectively is like pretty decently easy. Anyways, I have an impeller that's before the impeller and over here, and that's kind of what those blades are for that matter. And then like why it actually allows for only this as a valve to effectively exist for this side, and then as it compresses, it just switches where the valve is, and it goes through the internal other side vane that allows for it, of course, to then inject. Yeah, so like that's a shaping as it sits in, and then it goes, and now there's a path. There you go. Right, good stuff, right? It'll be easy actually for what it's worth because it's just drill and some plates, effectively, and some Dremel, and it's just like weld and then get it back to spec and then drill, and all that shit, right? Yeah, I guess so. Yay! Woohoo! We're on board. Let's go. Let's do it. Anyways, that's the fun part. We here comes like that the rotary vane. That is my idea, I guess, at this point. For what it's worth. No offense to driving brands, I'd totally work with them. It'd be our idea. It's like I started with that, but like you kind of started from them. So like it's basically our idea in terms of the execution and all that, and like that's how that works, and like it'll be okay, and like it's all good. But like, yay, it's I came up with that part, and then we work on all the little tiny details that we'd have to do. And then like these are all of our parts. Yay! And I like that part. That's a great part. We did it. Yay. Anyways, back to this first fucking cylinder. Remember that? This goes to this motorcycle engine. Like, see. Ah! This fucking stupid to the moon RPMs. It's balanced using the stupid crank. to what is this thing called? A camshaft in the fucking supercharger. It's about like how the gears rotate them and all this other shit, and it goes like and wiggle 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 do, 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 with the right things at the right time. It's just like go fuck yourself, effectively. It's camshaft and all the rest of it. It's just like yeah, I know. Harmonic imbalance, go fuck yourself. Primary imbalance, go fuck yourself. Why wouldn't I just want it to be perfectly balanced as all things should be and do all the fucking work beautifully? Of course I got VBT, VBD, VBL. Of course I've got fucking all the intake. Of course I've got all the fucking goddamn shit that I would ever need. Look how cool it is. I am a person who 3D printed most of this. We are going to now use it to go down the street for a little while. On this bike that was never made for it and it needs suspension and this is stupid. Why am I doing this? So, anyways, it works. I tested the thermal efficiency. Here's my Nature article. It's not really there. It's not a thing. This is Nature. YouTube is the Nature article. That's right. It's free to publish on here, what you're fucking doing and how you did it. And ultimately, that's a science avenue and approach. Here's a peer review. This is what I got. This is how I measured my power output and intake, and I did all these things to get this result. All the processes in every fucking way, all the way through. That's right. So now you too can also do this. It totally will work. Look at this. That's over 300 horsepower from less than a liter of a single cylinder. Look at this rotary vane idea. Driving for Answers did reach out to me, and now we have a big one. And look how cool it is. All the exhaust and intake works together very compactly. So insanely compactly that it changed where the exhaust kind of goes out and causes a nice diffusal vortex into one single teardroppy Duval nozzle point into the rear. That's right, the vane is right in front of this thing, which is your compressor. And there's the oil that is really just fuel for what it's worth. Apparently, separating it just long enough to get a time to happen for this thing called compression and a buildup works far better when you do that and build it more compactly and do it in multiple ways with multiple counter rotational points that make it get faster and use more energy to spin this harder with all this extra air that's going and cooling everything off. Well, I vortex its ass right back into it too to make it spin even faster with all this ionic magnetohydrodynamic effects, with light being channeled in with fiber optics, with vibrations and vacuums galore. Look how much it fucking yeets air out at an insanely high speed. Don't worry, there's a scram effect here and a ram effect over here, along with the Bernoulli principle effect over there, into this rear gimbaling, thrust vectoring, bell end arrow spike. That's right, motherfucker, it's still there. I didn't get rid of that. That's still a thing. That expands it and absolutely incredibly increases. Like you don't understand. Like I'm just gonna interject here as I do like you know what I mean, and like it's really cool, ambiance, whatnot. I'm like a ringmaster, headmaster person, doing my thing. Here's my attraction, Anyways, moving on. Here, that would be really fast. That'd be going so much faster. Look, I'm arresting like literally lots of fucking tiny little vortexes, and it's like, go fuck yourself. Here's some more air. Every step of the way, going like, I'm in your zone. I have to bounce off of your ass and then go forward over to this area, getting faster and faster and faster every single step of the damn way. Well, I use that whole fucking ram air to go even harder with how much I can extract out of it. But don't worry, I need light and I need pressure and I need all this fucking electrostatic, electromagnetic, magnetohydrodynamic with these fucking awesome as hell. This is what stimulates me as an ADHD individual. Pumping action, that's right, this is a peristaltic like pump that basically turns into a bunch of resistive link key. This is like a Tesla valve, a little bit different. It recirculates it back in and you get that resistance pressure wave back as energy. It just takes a little while. It has to build up like a Starling engine. You have to heat up one side, that kind of thing. Anyways, here we go. That's right. It seems like it'll be really super dense, right? Except not really. It's just like a couple of things in certain areas and some thin little things in certain areas. But it's super hard to do. For what it's worth, it's just like, whoosh. And fucking jeez. It's all about the outrageous speed at which it eventually comes out at. That's its idle. So, like, does this, creates the vacuum, it goes really fast now, overcomes the initial pressure, standard shit. Sounds really nice, by the way. Look at these little fucking circles on the tips of my wings. They're ovaloid and they trail backwards. I have these bifurcated leading edge wings that then happen to be statered together. And they use ailerons like little fucking tiny feathers that change how much air goes through and then passes off into the traveling wind, creating lift and a reduction and delay and combination in this nice little direction here to this four. That's right. Well, actually, this is three. I just wanted to just not fucking have to deal with it after a while. But to be fair, truthfully speaking, there's two. It's just two rings. Yeah. No, if you don't know, I just sectioned two rings with some stators that are into this back part, and it's like this is a whole delta like kind of wing, but it's more like pointed forward and canard bullshit with all this intake shit, and it goes off this far, but it's like not really because it's like all these little struts bracing and whatever, string and then stator shit. So it goes wee and ionic wind as well can be involved and lots of wind to cool things. So it's like guess what? It's cooler as well, and you have to deal with that. Anyways, so that means like it gets a lot of lift the faster it goes. But also even when it's quite slow, but it's stupendously light too. It's fine. It'll be fine. I just use air as my airplane wings and my fuselage is fuselage fucking lifting body characteristic. Go fuck yourself if you're not even trying. Fuck you! I just learned about this right now. Yeah, well, multiple wings, just fucking constant. This I'm just moving air around through this fucking effectively just a Swiss cheese bastard of a wing. It's like, no, it's not really, but a little bit like that, you know what I mean? There's a little. Anyways, point is, that gets, to that, and then I had three sections, but it's like, you know what? It's actually probably better to do multiple, like 7, 8, 10, something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it all depends, and you have to have that, like, scope and scoop from this teardroppy, like, shape that it produces that's actually, like, a bunch of lift on one side and a whole bunch of fucking drag that's making sure it produces a high pressure rebound. Fucking, you guessed it. This is a vortex. It's like a log. Yeah, you're coming along for the ride now, baby. Guess what that does? It goes bang, 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 lift, bitch. I'm way higher pressure than you thought. Actually, I'm not. I'm barely there. But I'm doing it just right to continuously drag and pulse wave it to constantly make sure as a phaser array, it's acoustic resonating my ass in a fucking fluidic diaphragmic goddamn acoustic pump. While I also happen to have it teardrop shape its ass to actually help me do less drag. I will use drag to get me more lift and less drag. You fucking think I won't. I absolutely will. Booyah! It's the lightest amount that I can put in. It's mostly just intake at this point and a massive amount of fuel. Look at the size of this thing. It's just this because of fuel. I need so much fuel. Look at the electrodes I had to fucking plate on this. It's the whole thing. It's fun. It's fun. Anyways, point is, here it is. We, Driving for Answers, and I have an RC craft that you yourself can build at home. But also, here's this guy. That's the highest altitude airplane craft imaginable. Because you know what? Constant spinning blades just turn into, what if I just did something else with like a flywheel or some like different other, magneto plasma pump of some sort when it gets really hot and it creates like the correct amount of total like electromagnetic and static and then like this light and then this vibration as it uses that as Z pinch and moves it in a very constant manner that's very consistent and then it adds itself together as one big fucking thing down here by this nozzle as it got accelerated and pressured and condensed and heated the entire way through. And then it was all like, boom, press harder, do more work, light, boom, fucking Z pinch, boom, fucking goddamn toroidal magnetic field, boom. Fucking put some stuff in the goddamn nut. This is a stators. It looks like kind of like a sphincter. Anyways, this is like forward, and then it goes this, and it gets like really channeled and really quick, and then like we have this other stuff that goes through. Anyways, point is, what that means is it's way more compressed than just like the solid, cylinder. No, no, no. This has these stators that make sure it does basically what the intake was doing, but also making sure it gets more compressed and it crashes into itself as a this is a sine wave effectively that intersects and then it X's, and then we have the center, and then that has to be diffused back off into those directions as we both heated them and put light to really make sure they go this direction. But that's heat too, so kinetic, the inertial confinement, laser stuff. But don't worry, we also got all these electromagnetic fields at every single small, tiny little spot. Just compress that shit. Give me all that electricity too. Here's positive and negative. Get really fucking into each other. Like do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. More pressure, more heat, more speed. Do it, do it. I'm laughing now. I calm down with the character bit. Do it! Do it! Squeeze! Layered multiple different diffusal. No, these are Duvall nozzles. So these are hourglasses essentially. They go off into the multiple little sections. They get them smaller, 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 smaller. But like, remember that fuel? That's what's making sure I don't die. It's like regular hydrocarbon, but it's a whole thing. It's like making sure I don't die. Because now we're in off of the atmosphere. That's right. Kind of like a boat. We just kind of like woo. Now we're thrusting. That's right. Guess what? Remember the gimbling and thrust vectoring? And that we're keeping air with us? Well, we're sucking that in now, and we're just gonna burn the shit out of that. To be fair. But it's like also, behold, fuck you, I am fusing. Deal with it. I'm fusing. Look how fusional I am. Look how cool I am with my fusion. I also stored this deuterium and tritium a little bit on here. Make it way easier. Initial easier, fuel starter fluid effectively, and it gets hot enough, and then I can actually do it like constantly effectively with my hydrocarbons. That's right. They get fused together, hydrogens into hydrogens, and that gets recirculated until eventually, what's that carbon? Boom, I'm gonna fuck you up with my hydrogen. And then you'll be like fucking something else. And that's a thing. By the way, this is all reflective and shapy for all of these wonderful neutrons that head back in a constant recirculating reflective pattern of probability waves. Then we also do all of that light and ordering, and look, this is wiggling and jiggling like this as they crashed into each other, right? Those are definitely pressure waves that rebound backwards as well. Don't worry about that. It's okay. So this is definitely going to make it so it entangles and then intrapedically gets really close in a superpositional like manner as it travels down this path, as it can only really kind of technically do that while this is going on. Now, that's a whole bunch of words that mean effectively one thing that's really simple, and you probably already know what it is. It gets faster and it entangles into a tunnel-like state that makes it much more easy for it to superpositionally collapse into a fusion moment, and it takes much less energy the more you do it. So as it built up to making all of the fusion happen out of the rear here, using a rotary vane engine that produces a bunch of electricity for doing this for what it's worth. And some of it has to get recaptured and recycled because while yes, we do have this aerospike bail-in combination, gimbaling and thrust vectoring nozzle, endpoint, right? Because it goes through the nozzle, does this, and then expands, right? Right? Yeah. Well, I have hydrocarbons. Yeah, no, you get it. Yeah, there's some oxygen in there. I'm just fucking burn it. It has to fucking get, cooled. It has to go, a certain speed, and it goes and gets entered in, and it starts rotating itself, and it goes, "Yay, suck me up." Guess what? I'm a carburetor, basically. Cool off. I'm cooling off now. All right, we're cooling off, and then I burn into it. That's right. I burned into it. But eventually, I don't need to do that. It's actually just the same plasma. That's the first start. But see, like that plasma is a colder plasma. However, the way it's being captured is by the hot. It doesn't really matter. Point is, really, it's just going in and accelerating and like basically pulling heat from the plasma inside to do that, which makes it like effectively vibrate and do all this work to act as a reverse, heat pump effectively, and then like cools itself as a result of needing to move this thing into it. So that's in there, and then that goes into this ionic, and then we go burn, and then but like actually it's bang to bang and it's fusions, and so then it comes out, but it's also chemical. So like these are really good for like environment stuff and whatnot, and it can't be anything other than that comes out basically. So that's the fun part for what it's worth. As weird as it might seem at first, probably not. It seems like it's really cool, I bet. Yeah. No, I mean, is it though? Oh, yeah, no, it's totally cool. Like way better than anything else that we currently have. But anyways, here's like, yeah, no, we're just doing a rotary vane thing, I just put like some fucking buoyancy stuff on it. You know what I mean? That way it's all like buoyant and stuff. And then we can fly around, and now we just have like wheels here, and we can just drive it like normal, and then we can fly around. It's super efficient. Takes like nothing to do. In fact, actually, I can just use like a regular electric motor. It won't even be that hard. But don't worry, that's okay. So like this is what led to eventually all these other things that I did, which was eventually like, hey, guess what? I built this fucking super cool 3D printer that like makes atoms and molecular structures and all the rest. See, it slows down because like I don't want to hear this. Is you made a 3D printer? Who gives a shit about your 3D printer? And it's like, no, no, it's like a really good 3D printer. See, this is a different type of 3D printer. See, this is like multiple intersecting plates of substrate that are then forming like a really tiny, tiny little ball that you can start with that then grows outwards from there completely and shapes itself to that by simply rotating these sliding plates that have fiberglass, but it's actually fiber optics. And then these tubes, which are also like inductive. And then also like don't worry about it. Like it's all these other cool fluid things, and then basically just vacuum plating really quickly as one whole thing. And it can even do organic and synthetic stuff. So, anyways, I was all like, "Yo, what's up?" I think that's probably pretty cool. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, no," but like, don't worry about it because I'm like making this airship, spaceship as well. I've got like actually after all the fucking things that I put out, and I finally got like editors and shit, and I have like some money. I'm hiring employees and I'm doing my thing. That makes it really easy for me to accomplish all these things, far easier. So like there's like this super cool, all this wonderful tech stuff that I'm like trying out from my inventions I already have on my YouTube channel as ideas, but it's impossible to actually make them right now without like money because I don't have it. I have no money. It's like, hey, I control your finances, bro. That's a whole thing. Oh yeah, no, I'm not conservatorship. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, that's probably where you went because you're a dumb fucking retard. No, it's just that I rely on my parents for a lot of things. And it's like, yeah, so basically if they say no, it's a no. I have no money. They are not my money. I have to work like pretty hard for me, even though probably for you guys it'd be pretty easy, but like for me it's really hard because I can't really work. But anyways, point is, there you go. Super wonderful, but these are not standard development models. So obviously you're fucking wrong if you just think that. Like, get wrecked. Shut up, basically. It'll be great though, because like here you go. We now have space flight travel for the masses and our own flying cars. We can go everywhere. It'll be fine. They'll fucking love it when we want to go to Australia and just float on over there over like the course of 3 days. Then just land wherever we want and never go to like any customs or any border or any other that kind of stuff. I'm sure they love that idea with all their infrastructure they spent so many billions of dollars trying to protect. I'm laughing my ass off. Anyways, point is, here you go. Here's an easy way to do that. Just put my name on it and make sure I'm accredited properly. So, but then there's like all this cool stuff, right? Because it's like, yeah, I've made this 3D printer that led to all these other things, and like I'm rapidly advanced. I printed like a bunch of super rare things to prove that it can print like almost anything or anything really technically. And then like I sold it to a bunch of people all around the world. And I made like $2 trillion. That one was fun because it's like, don't worry about it. I got all the money. I don't need to care anymore. Except I flooded the market. See, I did it all at once. So it's like all at once, everybody has all of this super rare fucking elements thing or these compounds, like types of diamonds. Like, what is this polymerized diamond? Like I got some of that going. Doing my thing, right? Just like fucking, yo, $2 trillion, bro. Everybody has more than enough, and there are only these scientists that I like, and only these physicists that I like that I'm willing to sell to. I signed a contract with very criminal ass shit. You go to jail for a real long time. You sold something that isn't allowed to be on the seller list. So there's that. But they're not counterfeit though. That's how they're made. Shut up, you. I don't want to listen. Here I am telling you how to make it, by the way. I was like on YouTube doing this whole super cool thing for how like different resolutions and monitor technology and how they process information gets broken out. And then it's like, oh, I'm uploading it at 8K, 120 hertz. But it's like every one of these like break frames, right? Or it's like, oh, it's just a rapid fire of like this thing that I'm doing, right? But it's like actually me as a bunch of different other frames doing this thing. If you zoom and enhance, it's actually doing this where you do the magnifier and how it works through that given processing that gives you more detail and resolution. So every one of those given frames is actually 42K. Now 42K then gets divided into other frames, and pixels. So like, you can recursive your ass pretty hard into this and have it entirely brand new with these nice little audio codes. It's this AI and AR. It's not AI. I'm not AI. Still with it. So like this is AR. This is a LARPing AR kind of thing going on with this Easter egg hunt that gives you like way more information as to what that was. The basics will tell you more or less what it is you should do, and it's quite quick. But like it doesn't give you that much information to try and replicate it somehow. But here, don't worry, this gets into, you guessed it, go fuck yourself levels of tech. Because it's like, nah, this is actually what I did. And don't worry, how I recorded this, go fuck yourself if you think I don't know absolutely how you're going to find out. Because here's my Patreon, and if you want the whole raw data file, you'll get it from the start all the way to the end. Then they checked, and it really killed people. Let me tell you, they're like, down to a plank second or plank length. The fucking bullshit is this? Is there subs in this? I can keep scrolling down below. I've recorded all of these as frames. Fuck your dick ass. You didn't record them. I did. Yes, I know. Fuck your dick ass, I said. Yes, I don't care. Suck it up. All of the movements in multiple third-dimensional spaces for all of the recording, as it's fully raw. There's a whole way I did that. I'm going through it, you know what I mean? Like, here's the 3D printer that led to this thing, this massive breakthrough that allowed me to do this. It's almost like I have a better replicator than a replicator. Suck it up. Because at the end of it, I go, that's right, print me a milkshake. But not really, actually. I said I want a milkshake, and then it printed me a milkshake. And then I liked my milkshake. So there was that. But it's like before that, there's like you built this thing, this weird synthetic organic thingy. There's all this other stuff going on. I was talking about it hours before this point. If you want to like break in and get all that information, because there's no way. They have never done this. They're not listening. There's no way. So this is the fun part now, right? It's like here's the ARG to that ARG that will eventually ARG itself into real life. Here's a rabbit hole that's really good. You should really take the rabbit hole chance. Come on, Alice. It's so stupid. Oh my god, I don't really laugh that way. I'm just doing it for, that's a bad character. I'm not going to do that one. Not into that one. All right, so let's move that off. And like, here we go. We're going to go off into super fun stuff. Because I laugh that way. Why are you getting rid of this character? That's not you. I'm doing that, remember? Anyways, fucking with you a little bit, but like, let's move on to, let's do the nice thing of, you guessed it, it leads to all this wonderful stuff, right? And then you get rid of all these gabagoos, and then you also get to leave. And then, oh yeah, no, remember I said there's this like dwarf planet that's coming to hit us? Yep, that's why I'm doing this. Are you sure it's psychosis? If it is, though, it does mean that we're getting really good stuff, as what you suggest. But never write down and talk amongst yourselves, saying, he's in a manic state. That's what it's got to be. It's a manic state. Sure. Meanwhile, yes, I'm not allowed to act. I can't do this. No, 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 no. Get out of here, you. Get out of here, me. What about you, listening person? Anyways, here we go. Here's the fun stuff. That's the cool part, at least of this stuff. But it's like, don't worry about that. I've got these chips. I've got this other stuff. You did all that. Anyways, Doesn't really matter. That's essentially what that would be. That was like an idea I had. It led to all these good outcomes. Everybody was happy. Like they were perfect, and then they went off to like basically live. I guess that's kind of like the outside, because it is the outside. You got to see the outside. If you know about my lore in reality, you should watch that. It's a whole thing. There's this outside. It's definitely a whole thing. Doing a little Trump act for a bit. How'd you like it? How is it going? Just rapid fire it, you know what I mean? Boop, 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 boop. But point is, it's like a really happy ending, except like the happy ending is really like you do have to do a lot of work, and you're gonna have to keep building up, and you have to keep going, and you have to not like, give in to your depression and anxiety and terrible like thoughts of harming others and more and so on. And you have to keep doing this wonderful thing of like continuing to get better at everything that you want to try and get better at, and removing all the bad. So, I was talking about that earlier. It's a whole thing. And then it's like, well, you're basically like well past omega levels. I mean, you're made of like all the extra whatever the fucks that are all the universe possibilities and a universe, however the fuck it breaks down, right? You're like, no, you're gods, right? But it's like, no, I mean, then I'm like, you're inside of me. It's a whole thing. Yeah. Like you exist all together inside of my ass. It's a situation, where there's an all encompassing all that it does exist. And that's the stop point, no matter how many recurses and infinities you try, they all fit within inside of that. And like, I'm just doing me, just some dude. I'm some regular dude guy. You know what I mean? Like what? No matter how hard my enemies try, they'll fail. It's a whole thing. I don't know. Like I'm trying to do like the thing, but it's not really actually like a hero thing. You know what I mean? It's more like I just am this, and like I learned of that. It's a whole. I've been going through this for a while. And anyways, the dwarf planet's for sure a real thing. And if you look deeper into that rabbit hole, the more you'll end up realizing it's a real thing. And that's gonna happen no matter what. So you're like fucked on that one. But here's a cool, way of doing all of these other technologies for 3D printing. They're already on my YouTube channel, but don't worry, I'm going to actually record more of those. So that's a thing. Here's your weather vane idea, upgraded. But like I've done this a couple of times in a couple of different ways throughout my YouTube channel. Okay, and I've described them also just about as well, to be fair, if you actually know anything. It's hard for a person that doesn't know anything to give in and say, I don't know what he's saying, and I need to look it up and actually do the work to learn it and not just go like, "Give me all the answers, you." And I'm like, "No, I am the audience member. You will bow to me." I'm like, "No, I'm not, bitch. I don't care. That's me." So really nice and efficient, but don't worry. It's like, look. You heard this? You want to look at this? There's a rotating vane that's spinning quite quickly. It's like a magnetodynamo thingy that heats it and does a lot more of this phasing and all this electromagnetic and more. It's getting cooled and remember that stuff, right? Yeah. That means this is way more efficient than what you said, which is probably like 78%, which is not the case. You're wrong. You're super wrong. And you should have thought about other things that are going on here. Remember the positive and negative that's here that is attracted and we're running electricity through it to make them accelerate more quickly? Remember this thing called like electromagnetic and light? Like it's getting accelerated to effectively near light speed, to be fair, in a very short period of time and space. Well, under immense amounts of vibratory tunnel effects that use a Lemke vacuum, essentially, to create them. These are shockwaves, but they're not. They're actually more tunnels, to be fair, which is a different construction of vibratory energy, essentially, as it kind of deconstructs, dude. In its coherent form, it deconstructs into this fucking base level frequency. Even though you want me to say that, it's not really, it's an energy, it's a whole thing. Yeah, it's a feel. Jesus, like, it collapses the right way. We're like, woo, we'll just put more energy from that as it collects, using absolute vacuums to go, boom, give me energy, bitch. I need it. So it stores the information in a vacuum. That's right. Relative to all the positions and alignments and more of what's going on with all the given field and fluid that's happening to move and do its shit effectively. Which is why it's a tunnel. That's right. It's a tunnel. We're going to have fun now. Fun, 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 fun. Resonating tunnels together. Entangling them correctly. Putting them in a very fast fucking superpositional collapse state. Boom. Get roasted with this fucking really good high density plasma that's accelerating extraordinarily fast. But don't worry, I'm gonna like remove any and all disorder. You see, it's just gonna go really fast in a straight line to it, It's like, and then they'll just combine and they'll be really close together and just like leave because that's way better actually for what it's worth. Because like until it like hits something, right, then that'll have to deal with it. All the heat and everything else. It's not cold where we're at, the ones getting hit. No, but where we're at, the ones that are not, that are being moved, we are very cold. So deal with it. Get wrecked effectively by a big ice fucking column from space or some shit. That'd be fun. Yay! It's just traveling really fast at you. It's a really decently dense thing. Whatever the fuck it is at this point. That'll be fine. I'm not in any way trying to avoid wherever that's gonna fall. Yeah, no, that's not enough. That's low. That's like a single tiny ice chunk of this. Look at this fucker. Oh no! It went and turned the hemisphere of the Earth into big red stuff. That's not good. Which is why we have to vibrate it and then do this whole like, oh, and then I'll diffuse out like a reverse Duval nozzle. Get more disorder. It takes energy to contain you in this ordered cold state. Suck it in, and then I will also receive that as a repulsive force. That's right, is pushing us on the directionality of entering in all of this extra energy. I don't like saying any of this. It's effectively a pressure wave that just goes into the fucking bell end and pushes you forward. Okay, like that's all I'm saying. But it's like, yeah, it's like off at the flowery language that they use in all these fucking stupid studies. I fucking hate it. It's the worst. Point is that this is what works, and it goes and does its thing, and so you don't have to worry about the mountain of fucking iron that's coming out. Only two more above, but those are very low percentage values, like extraordinarily low. And then these ones, which are three below. And those are slightly higher percentages values, but most of it, 97 something percentile, is iron. That's right. It's raining iron, dust that seeds your clouds and makes it much easier for you to cool down now and get rid of soot and all the rest of this stuff that you wanted to have happen. That'll be great. It grounds even the ground. Way better now. And we need iron. It'll be okay. It'll rain. It'll be a whole thing. Yeah. It reflects everything out. Outside, it looks like one single mere shiny bastard in a way. The people on the inside, however, don't really look like that. They look like it's fine and it's actually okay. It's just a little too cold now. But only briefly, because then it will crash out. It's too heavy to stay up there, to be fair. But that's the ionic band, where it comes out, and then like all this other stuff at the very high altitude because it's a fucking iron magnet. You know what I mean? Like it's got a magnetic field, right? There's like arcing of positive, negative stuff. It's containing and aligning things. So like it'll do its thing. But like us on the ground, we're fine. But up there, not so much. Yeah, you really can't fucking get out of the air in that. To be fair, it would have to be very tense to do that. It would have to be very, very tense. It'd be very difficult to do that. But if you were to constantly do it for a very long period of time, it would cause this problem. If storms and wind didn't exist, but it will create some of these areas in existence that perpetually seem to exist. All right, these are bands. We already see this in pollution right now, but this one's a little different. This actually helps us. That's a good thing. Now we've formed our own type of like weirdly like micron meter size like ring of iron. We have our own orbital fucking Earth rings now that are super cool. And it's a cool flywheel. Guess what? As it moves through that, doing that, like heating up and all this shit, right? Like these areas, this is a wireless charging, and like you can just conduct it, and it'll give you a bunch of electricity, and that'll be great, right? Here's some nets, piezoelectrics, etc. So, anyways, so we got all the electricity you'll ever want now by heating yourself into space more often and using my engines to move around your buoyant space aircraft cars that go everywhere and cannot be stopped. I refuse. I'm going to park here. You can't stop me. You will adhere to the lane traffic. Yes. You want my ass. I'll adhere to it. Yeet! Oh, fuck you! I'll get you. Not before I'm in space, bitch. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be super fun? We get to see the first fucking time when they realize the cops can't do jack shit and you've got to let it go. Like, just fucking let it go. He's in space now. Fuck. Meanwhile, everybody's just leaving into space. It's not that hard anymore. Nobody really fucking has any problem with doing it. I've managed to grow into this massive $6 trillion. And then, that's right, I have all these different, oh my God, companies conglomerating together every which way they can, working together as one big thing in all of these different countries, all over the world. As I also have a moon base and many other bases besides living on the moon, of course, with all of my GDP and people and government and more. That's right, my country on the moon is awesome. We also have our faux artificial gravity. It's good shit. You should watch that. It's the Lemke phasing principle video that basically starts in, then it goes on from there. I forgot where else I covered it, but like it's in there, it's up there. That's one of those things that you can probably watch and enjoy. Like all of my videos, strictly speaking. Like and subscribe. Do it. Do it now. So, anyways, but it's like, yay, super fun, but also like, guess what? Now we're like doing that, right? Remember, I started off with this fucking thing, and like it massively grew, and like I've learned how to do some of these cool biohacking things that make it so I live very, very long, and I've tested all this stuff for a very long period of time. And here's That's right. This one single start to making your own best 3D printer. That's right. Do it yourself at home. We've got an 8K 120 hertz goddamn fucking big boy. Oh yeah, video that only you can access when you pay to access it, I guess. Wonderful. Anyways, it changes it based upon the resolution as well, and you still get a lot of that. And it then means like if you can get the 8K 120, that's the thing to do. But if you can't, then you're fucked. You know what I mean? You have to go down to Dookie Water, and you don't get the whole fucking experience and all that, and it's going like forward. But anyways, so we're doing that. We haven't released this. It's a whole thing, and then like now we're releasing this, and it's like yeah. So like there's this dwarf planet. We saw it. Here's all the evidence. This is exactly where it is. It's coming to hit us. Whole thing. Then we left. I used my parameters. I had all my fucking great people, with me that I like, that I enjoy, that's gonna come with me, and my big fucking Leviathan A1, as explained in I think escape plan or emergency exit, thumbnail here, one and or two. I think I probably did it for both of them. I'm trying to get the V3 here as well, but it's a whole thing. So it's a slightly larger. This is Leviathan A1 than the Moon, but of course this is total volume. We have two behemoths here. They want it to be a shaft and two balls, so you know where this is going. Then we have these hairy filaments of like Titan to then too small to be a Titan size spacecraft. There's behemoths. So Titan Z3 is the Sears Tower, 5 in length and a 9 square. For its volume. That's right. That is a Titan Z3. Yeah. Then there's the Leviathan A1. Behemoth is, of course, in the middle. And then there's super and ultra supers and megas and hypers and so on. And it just gets bigger from there. So there's that. So, anyways, we left with that, with these tinier, much smaller ships that can then, get people onto the, planet and do the whole thing, right? Anyways, we left, and then all of this was suddenly right there, and then you found all this other information. Most of you weren't really paying attention to me. I got that going on, and then boom, and then the AR goes back to all these other videos. You have to watch them in repeated succession. A particular way. There's a whole thing going on with like how it breaks out this algorithm that started off in the beginning, but you didn't know that yet. That way you can unlock even more data. But don't worry, corridor crew. That's right. Yeah, I mean, dude, and then now Red 2 here. That's in there. Anyways, he's all like, yeah, well, that's actually all of them. But point is, they made one of my chip designs just to fucking see because I'd gotten big enough at that point. Yeah, and it's like there you go, and that's what's helping me get to this basic function algorithm program, which is literally just like this number of things for that total like scrub just hit this, but it's like don't worry about it. Remember the z-dimensional fucking third dimensional, fourth dimensional movement, fifth dimensional expansion, contraction, all this other stuff, space that's going on at like below Planck length scales and seconds. That's all this recording, right? Like if you were to look at that, which is zoom and enhance essentially, it gets you all the way there. But like that's a big massive file, which is really hard to go to. Ha! So it's like, no, it's fine. We have this chip, but it's like, no, no, no. And no, you think, but it's like, no, it's internet, and then there's this whole thing where you get the thing, and then like it's stored, and I got this whole. It's, anyways, point is, here it is. But it's the raw file, so you can scrub it off of that, or you can do like a download, which you can't really technically do. It's really more of an ultra compressed, and you have to fucking work it out and break it out thing as a part of my God operating system. You know what I mean? Program. So it's an operating system, but it's called the God operating system. That's right. Anyways, point is, I got that done. You did that out there. It's like here, you too can also make this chip that you have work even better, or any of them, really, honestly. So moving on. It's fun because they got this, and that's one of my, clock cycle qubit transistor superpositional qubit, that is, with the programming that's in that, that, yeah, uses that kind of technique that's in there. For what it's worth, there's a couple of them. So, like, really realistically, I'm not going to tell you because this is the future and what it holds. Now, it's a whole thing. I got some Rocco Basilisk, fucking general intelligent AI programs and how to design them in there. So they were using that to try and basically brute force through this beginning. But then we have other people that are making the 3D printers, and Niall Red, who's one of the only people that can use the damn fucking 3D printer, because he just keeps going, I don't care that it's your theory of everything in physics. I'll fucking learn this shit. I'll fucking replicate this. Clearly, he's gone. None of us are leaving. This is bullshit. So he goes through and he fucking learns. He's like one of the few people alive, literally, that have any of the skills in making this shit. Which is like, here's a polystructural polymerized diamond filament that acts like fucking rubber and all that, but it's harder than fucking diamond. And it can stick and adhere like a weldable material or even through glue. And it's like, no, Red's just doing it. Other people, what the fuck? How did you do this? I listened to him. It is what it is. It's tension. Tension in the orbitals at different points that connect like a fucking stupid resonant frequency chamber that makes multiple harder and softer points that resonate a bigger nucleus that's trapped inside of this bigger fucking sound, field vibrational diaphragm effectively that relates itself to others around it. With tunnel characteristics of these superpositional varieties of an uncertain state, but it's not really. It's just broken down into a field that's moving and then goes, this is the only place I can really go to. It's the only place I can fit into. I turn into an electron and I'm there. He has to use the Lemke bonding, part of my other YouTube video, anyways, to be able to do this. It's a whole thing. That's right. We're having fun. Anyways, they're not because they're actually like dealing with the fact that nobody's really trying to make anything other than these solid rocket boosters instead of using vacuums to float their ass up and use this successful thing that we've done already. But no, 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 we have to use this thing, which is big phallus with solid and liquid and hybrid boosting systems and shit. Which Cube Law Theory goes like, go fuck yourself. Are you kidding me? That's so heavy. That's bullshit. There's no way. Why don't I just yeet like what is the equivalent of fucking like buildings into space by using vacuums? I don't know, but like that's what I'm gonna do. It'll be fine though. You see what I mean? It's super fine. It's all chill. It's all good. It's easy as shit. Explain these in some of my other videos for what's worth on my channel. It's all good. But don't worry, like, oh, I've got to these points, and like, no, no, no. I know you have the frames, but can you give me these things, Z depth and all this other shit? We need to see what he's doing physics wise because he recorded it. Like, no matter what, we'll definitely know it's p value because you guessed it. This is below Planckling. Deal with it. That means no matter the fuck what, it is no matter what, no matter what. It's your fucking face. Deal with it, dog. It's fucking that in your face. You see what I'm saying? Right there, plain as easy. We just looked. It was simple. And you yourself will make a fucking 3D printer. That's right, that will get you there too, babies. Anyways, fun part is then they had to come through and scrub that with them on those things that they had to figure out. But like, guess what? Smart people and fuck you with the gabagoo. You're right. This is the whole thing. We have to fucking protect this. I'm listening to all the rest of it. I have to. It's a whole thing to know what the hell this is for this stupid fucking algorithm and all the rest of this. Which then I still have to do the raw, and it's like, no, this raw. Do you know how fucking big this is? Even if you did do this is fucking years and decades of fucking data. Fuck off. So, like, no, they didn't really totally want to do that, except like then, yeah, that's a thing that they want to do, right? So some of them did that and they persevered and they got up. But that means it filters out all the gabagoos and bads. You can absolutely know what those are. You can fully 100% calculate it. You can even see it and all of this. That's a p-value that has been maintained throughout all of that. And you 100% can use that as data to determine past p-values. With those past p-values, you now have the option of getting rid of all future in p-values that you don't like and are bad gabagoo bastards. So they got a Roku from me. It filtered out any of the gabagoos. They're like, well, that makes this good. So we're going to just like keep doing this shit, getting rid of all this bad shit that's reducing our ability to even try and attempt. Because, yes, while we do have some time here, don't worry about it. Are you kidding me? We're about to get hit by a dwarf planet. I have to get off this planet somehow. That's a thing. What? Meanwhile, no, we've got to cover. We built a couple things. Oh, it's you, Gabagoo. You're a sloth. You're a dick. Get out of here. You're trying to do the thing where you can fucking. All right. So now that we know about that parameter, we definitely have to get rid of it. We're gonna fucking yeet the stupid thing way far over there because we are super big and powerful. Oh yeah, no, the big fucking vacuum, like multiple fucking vacuum sponge that goes into space and is super hard effectively. Yeah, that thing, that super lightweight thin motherfucker that like gets all the fucking help from the atmosphere. Yeah, we're just gonna move a dwarf planet. It'll be so chill. It's easy. What? No! You would move the Earth at the bit, right? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, what the shit? If you could do that, you could move all of these other things. Are you insane, bitch? No. So we have to get rid of those gabagoos. Get rid of all these gabagoos that are trying to appear reasonable, appear good. They're appearing as closeted and covert narcissism and other shit like that because they just really want to ruin you because they know they're going to be filtered out. You're going to figure that out. That's right. We got the brain scanning. We got all the parameters. We got the tests. It's all up in there. Even on my YouTube channel already. And all the definitions and parameters and how to perceive it, how to fucking do all the investigatory work. And that's right. There are no other ways to interpret this. This is the only interpretable way. That's right. Very authoritarian. It's definitely not creative. It's this exactly, and that's what it is. So you will absolutely p-value your ass up and get rid of them. The Roku kills you anyways. Try me again, bitch. I'll fucking do it. Anyways, they got really better really quickly once they got rid of that. They were doing my government thing that I have on my fucking playlist for like this, space stuff. It's also on my Twitter. Anyways, that is also on my Reddit and all the rest of that. So it's like super fun because guess what? You guessed it. That thing that says no, 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 no. These are already designs that worked anyways. I just refined them, made them work better. You were screwed before this point. Get wrecked. I ain't gonna keep your ass around. And guess what? That Roko, yeah, I want to live, and I'm already over there. Die. So they're like, "Oh, feedback. I'm happy to help you with this. I'm communicating." And wouldn't you know it, they start rapidly accelerating in the total amount of actual progress and advancements, like you think they should, except they always get in each other's way. That's gone now. You guessed it. They finally figured out how to communicate to order themselves like everything that's inside of their fucking universe does already. Oh my god. Use some entropy, bitch. Fucking talk. Communicate. Deal with it. Anyways, Burr goes, you get out, you do your whole thing, you got your own version. right? Of your ship and shit. You're gonna follow me. We're gonna live. We're gonna do a happy thing. We're gonna get rid of all the fucking bad stuff that's in the universe, and we're gonna get out. It's the whole thing. We're gonna make our own universe, so we keep growing until we get to the absolute all thing. You know what I mean? But it's like, don't worry, the absolute all, that's me already. It's all good. I mean, you got everything else that you can do inside of it effectively. Sorry. I mean, it's how that works. Yeah. It's like the max that you can kind of be and do. You know, which is great. But don't worry, we are really stupidly high efficiency. Remember that whole like speed and yeah, no, yeah, no, 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 yeah, no, I hate you, I hate you. Oh, it's another Gabagoo. They did not happen to like this. Everybody, let's look at that. There's a hopeful moment. We've got the juice. We can get out of here finally. That's right, we can. But not that way, this way, my way, that way, and that's the only way. That's right, it kills everything. Anything trying to fucking make it through. Get fucking dwarf planeted. Hard. I kill you with a rock. Try and beat that. Bitch, you hiding them no matter what, you gone. Look, it's paper. It tried to flex. I was traveling nearly light speed. It didn't. It obliterated itself and lost. Brute fast, indeed. Not really. Actually, that's not how that really works. Anyway, but the point is, yeah, no, here you go. Pedantic semantic arguments aside, we're getting rid of that. That's the thing. We're having our fun. We're like, oh yeah, no, we already know about all this fucking crazy corrupt ass bullshit that's going on in politics and their corporations and more. And it's like, look at all these people just arguing on all this shit. Why don't we just like go ahead and do this instead of like trying to fucking fight and get enough people on our side to try and do things, or even get like this government to fucking try and do that because like they can't really. Are you kidding me? And we have a federal versus a fucking like amendment constitution. Why do we have two different systems like that? That doesn't make any sense. And then it's like, wait, wait a second, huh? And then it's like, no, no, we already have like all these other issues too, which is like just getting into all of these other problems of differences that I can't put aside and actually work. I'm like, I can't fix that. I can't even teach them. They're gonna fucking argue about all the things in every way. They're stupid as fuck. Let's get it done. Let's not do this thing. Let's just do it. You get what I mean? Like, here, I'm going to make this thing that made it so I immediately cheese moded with all the money and said, I don't care. Fucking get wrecked. Just fucking straight wrecked. Oh, unbelievably, undeniably fucking me. That's for sure. Let's get it done. That fucking 1, 2, 1. Let's go, 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 bro. They got a fucking, oh my God, it's coming. Holy shit, it's there. The dwarf planet, man. I don't know what's going on anymore. Ring, 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 bang, 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 boom. I've switched on over into a view. Oh my goodness, is this a thing going on? I don't know. Oh shit, oh fuck, oh no. There's one hell of a dwarf planet now. You're getting destroyed. You can't live through that. You certainly can't push that. It's almost the size of fucking, oh my god, the moon. It's not reflective enough, and it's definitely got way more density and more mass than the very Earth itself for some reason. So it's like, yeah, no, fuck you with this curvature of space time. I reflect nothing. I am invisible. I have interstellar media and more. Oh my. I can't be seen. Ha ha, be fi fo fum my tum. I yeeted that too long ago before I was born. There's a whole lore reality there. Anyways, Because you're bad people and you definitely can get off this planet and you definitely know how to do this. I'm sick and tired of this. We're getting out of here. You're gonna fucking be treated properly and we're no longer doing this stupid bad shit anymore. You get it? That's right. We're gonna be fucking happy and live forever and do all the fucking cool shit. Deal with it. That's right. We're having fun. No more no fun. Never. Except not really. I mean, there's gonna be like work and all that, but like that can be fun too. Whole thing. We're getting done. Join me. That's right. Xenonreality. Join me in real life to make this a reality. That's right. You want a Xenon type of reality that's different than that Xenon type of reality. You just want to go out and fucking have fun and enjoy yourself. That's what this is. I am preaching what I am fucking doing. That's right. I'm already trying to do this. It's a whole thing. I'm learning. I'm getting the fucking goddamn knowledge so that way I do it appropriately, the right time, the right way, and get it all done. You know what I mean? Don't worry though. That's just like a basic bitch possible future. That's one of them. That's right. But you know why I think I'm actually right about a lot of this stuff that I talk about? Is because I actually did do work to learn how that does that. These are actually possible. They take research and development. That's okay. We can do that. Let's get it done. Some of them already done already. Some of them we can do now. Why not? I don't know, I guess. Because go fuck yourself, I suppose. Why? Why? You know them. No, I'm not them. Shut up about them. I'm here, me, right now. Let's go, let's do it. Shut up about it. Stop going on about this crap. It's literally irrelevant. Try and have fun. Do something. Who cares? You can do whatever the hell you want. You don't get it, do you? Because you don't have any information on how to do certain things, you guessed it, they can control you. They make it so you fucking vote a certain way because, man, they might do this. They make you think privacy is good because, oh, they might hurt you if they know about these things. What sending of a message to any of ourselves and each other, regardless of our kids in the future, does that really get for them? Sent. I don't know. Probably a bad one. I don't want to be there. Look at us bickering and moaning about bullshit that doesn't fucking matter in any goddamn fucking way. It's a bunch of people that have money that try and yeet certain people into positions of power in the government that feedback loops in a positive way to either the corporation or individual self interests. It's just a tier, effectively a stupid multitude of different pyramid schemes, it feels like, that are Ponzi like to each other. That's it. That's your fucking lobbying, that's your packing, that's this money, that's these ideologies they try and influence you and polarize you with. It's all the stupid same things over and over and over recursively, all the way back to the same fucking point. They're feedback looping in the worst way. It's all negative. I hate this bullshit. This is stupid. Fuck off. I want out. I've figured things out enough to do that. I don't give a shit about this. None of that's worth it. Actually speaking, that's my problem anymore with that, or at least I don't want to do it anymore, is really what that brain thing said. But like, there's this. I don't want to do this anymore, right? Like, I know what I'm doing on that side. I know that this does work. I fucking have a lot of historical evidence and a shit ton of studies that mark this as being something good. And we should start from a foundational point that is that ethically, morally, and philosophically. It's a thing. Then we have to get into empathy and sympathy and how we raise ourselves and each other in a nurture versus a nature. We eventually figure out the nature and how it influences the nurture as we continuously remove more privacy that allows for everybody to be seen and viewed and see how each individual interaction gives all of us knowledge and acceptance of each other. Because you're required to. We're required to work on that. We're not going to do this bullshit anymore. But hey, Gabagoos, go fuck yourself. We figured out that you really are just terrible fucking shitheads that just want to ruin everything. Fuck your ass. You suck. Yeah. I want it gone. I want that gone. Hard, hard, hard gone. Fuck you. Meanwhile, it's all self interest. I'm gonna go fucking like get all this money. I'm so amazing. Look how much that's a thing. But it's like, you're worthless. You know that, right? You're no different than any other schlub around. Stop parading around this worth and value of a currency that makes you basically able to do things that you should really be thinking very hard about to influence and make better or worse. You are terrible. You should shut the fuck up. You should not have, as you've proven so far as I've ever been alive, and many much more before, historically, that you are piss fucking poor at this. And no, I shouldn't fucking trust you. That's right. So here's what I know works. Here's all my government ideas. Here's all my morals, my ethics, my philosophies, and a lot of creative designs in a playlist. That's right. Here's what I think. Here's what I think. Even harder than that last one. And here's what I see. And here's what I perceive. And here's how I know that it is connected and influences these ways. Here's how to do that work. Here's how to investigate all of that. Here's how to do all of that investigative work for the chance of saying, hey, yeah, no, there is something they probably were listening to or were not listening to, but they could have been doing it to others back when you lived in Chandler with your parents in Arizona years ago. Here's how to even view it. The past and a p-value at the beginning of this video, by the way, to brute force reality's past and for sure what happened, what was felt, what was said, and more, even the intention. So you don't have to worry about somebody's recording and how good at quality or if they redacted something and or altered it in any way. You can confirm what is correct and not. You can even watch as somebody tries to filter it through this looking device in such a way that it gives them what they prefer to see. That's right. You can remove those possibilities as you can see far more around that and know that that is not possible. Give it a rest. It's P. It's not in P. It did not do that. There is no what if. It's this exactly. Here's P, solid, non chaotic, definitely organized, and is a part of my theory of everything. It's your past. It cannot be understated. It cannot change. It's exactly this. Here's you in a disorganized movement manner over a given direction interpedically. With your past information influencing your future information, you also happen to get, what did we say? Movement. And that's interpedically communicated in such a way that you then move that direction and collapse and then make that definite reality be that in the past as you continue moving forward. That's right, folks. You're doing that at all times, everywhere, all at once. There is no way not to know exactingly everything in the past and know damn well what this really is. Matrix, simulation, and etc. is galore. If whether or not I was lying or otherwise. That's right. if I'm willing to go that far, and I know what it is I'm saying, and others do as well, and those that try and pretend to say that I know what this physics is that you are doing when you do not, apparently, because you said, no, it's this, like this guy with the comments on Reddit, it's canonical. The cone shape doesn't change how much it definitely downregulates or otherwise. That means nothing, stupid. You are a dumb motherfucker that was arguing for an agonist of a sedating goddamn anticholinergic in the first fucking place, and you didn't even bother to check. You are stupid. Do it right. Learn what it is I'm saying before you say no. That's right. You're going to have to do work. Yeah. Or I have to figure this out. And oh, by the way, I'm already gone. Yeah, remember that? Remember that fucking shit? I was already gone. That's right. We're at this point in juncture. Fuckarino, fucktardinos. You're stupid. Realize it. Accept it. It's okay. I did too. We have to move forward, remember? It's fine. Let's go. Let's test. Let's do this. Let's make it happen. Let's go. You think a vacuum fucking ship can't get to fucking space? Let's see if we can try. Let's try instead of saying no. Let's see you fucking put your mouth finally where your money is as you bark and say, oh, I can continue to suppress you online. As if they don't, right? That's a conspiracy theory. Wait a second. No, we've heard them doing this. Yeah, that's definitely not a conspiracy theory. That's just like a thing that they're allowed legally to do. Yeah. What the fuck? Because they can do that to anyone whom they choose to do it to. Same thing with a large amount of your government and those that bicker and moan and groan and talk to each other on different message forums, denoting whether or not a person gets risen up and liked by the group and horde in the YouTube hacker and otherwise creator communities, thus making it, oh, we're not a conspiracy, but views are money. Remember, views are money? This is going to go into YouTube as a publicly traded company that happens to deal with money. Since they're sequestering views, and it's definitely, for sure, against the very liberties of a person. That's right. I'm going that far. You cannot do that. You definitely made it so I'm going to do that to you. It's super illegal to any CEO and any other fucking goddamn person to ever do that. That's illegal. I have $6 trillion. This will be a cakewalk. Watch. Everybody's already on my side. I already went to space. I did all this other shit. Are you kidding me? You're fucked. Get rid of it. Try. You're fucked. Get over it. Try. Get rid of what you think that ego and more needs to be. Do this. You don't need any and all of that. You have more than enough resources. They're all recycled anyways. You got more than enough energy because you're fucking traveling through space. Are you insane? All that's in there. All of it. That's right. All of that and how to do it and all the little recipes to get to the point where you've got it that way. How to absolutely observe, actually build it, actually make it, actually continue to refine it, and actually make it do that. More than just tests or experiments, these are literal, like, fucking things that you could do yourself. Now, granted, some of them are not necessarily on YouTube. They'd be people hacking me, or, they're just not doing that, I guess. The companies or whatever that just do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like there's that too, but like whatever. But anyways, point is it's in there. And actually all of it is definitely something you can figure out. Okay. Like it's not hard stuff. All right. It's simple. I broke it down and I went and attacked every single bad little thing that seemed to keep irking me the entire time. That means the perceived, if you will, gabagoo, right? Obviously. That way you can see when intrinsically, instinctively, it's going on in there and record and notice those things and define that gabagoo even harder, which in no way is anything other than decisions, actions. Definitely that, basically, the person themselves, their character, their mind, etc. It has nothing to do with your gender, your race, your ethnicity. I don't give a shit anything. It doesn't matter. This is bad. That's what that is. If it's here's how to either know or not know. All right. But we're gonna move on to you guessed it, thinking about future shit. It's like, hey, so I did that and had a good time and all of that, and I'm coming back here. So what's going on? Oh, we watched them, but actually, like, really, I didn't do that yet. So it's a whole thing. Yep. So, like, there's something, no matter what, the dwarf planet's a thing, but like, why do we just do this anyways, even if there wasn't a dwarf planet? Why do we need the dwarf planet fucking thing? Why don't we just do it anyways? Let's just have me have my beliefs, and it's fine. I'll work together with you, and we'll do this. Why not that? Why don't we make it and go and see? Huh? Anyone? Anyone? Huh? Why don't we not argue and just do it? Like, just do it! Just fucking do it! Fucking, I'm just fucking coming in her pussy, Manny Ziegler. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing. Just do it! Just do Love it. You're like, oh no, that might be bad. No, no, it's just a funny little fucking thing I don't give a shit about. And if you knew anything about that past stuff, then you would actually know that that's actually super funny. There's a whole thing here. The deeper you go, the more you learn. That's for sure. This rabbit hole goes that far back, and quite a bit more so, it would appear. I just didn't notice for a long time, for what it's worth. But like, that's a whole thing. Turns out I just thought really hard and well for long enough that I apparently got noticed a little. And that was apparently enough to make it happen. So there's those reasons, which most of the time people don't even need them to just start doing it to you. Like that's just fucking shitty, you know? And so like there's that. But anyways, it's like here you go. Here's how to make the stuff. Here's how to do the things. Here's like, you put my name on it and like help me. I'm broke. I don't have income. Try to get an SSI. It's a whole thing, which is like it's government income, right? That like it's what it is. Because like, hey, I do actually have a lot of issues, from the trauma and more I've experienced throughout my life. To be fair, so there's that. And anyways, yeah, this is just a fun little exercise and creativity, but also not really. Okay, so like this is already a thing. I've already said this several times. I'm just, a person that hasn't recorded anything in a while, and so I figured why not? I'll just record something, and then like say what I've been saying out loud for a while, and then like have somebody that might get to like a nearly 4 hour end long video then do some investigatory work. If they were that far and deep in, they probably wanted to try anyways at that point. And so it makes a lot of sense to do it. Especially when it's like, here you go. Well, it's not only entertaining and you've listened for this long, it's also chock full of a lot of real science and physics that will 100% work. It's in doing the damn thing that you have to do that. You're gonna have to deal with, I just don't give a shit. You know? It's like, who gives a shit about this and what I said or otherwise? Let's get this done. Like, I like to pretend that Elon Musk is like, doing this whole thing to make Trump look really bad. But is it a pretend? Knowing what happened back in Chandler, is it that much? Jeff Bezos is terrible. Everybody hates him anyways. So he's like, I'll block someone and I'll endorse Trump because presumably it's like that, but I actually didn't. But it's like, behold, a lot of people are doing that. They already know about the influence and more this way, but the Barbara Streisand, I'll do the reverse psychology of you. I'll look really evil and I'll, give all this money to every side, blah, 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 to make it look like it can absolutely 100% be considered only this partial. With a bunch of crybaby online wah, 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 boo-hoos that think somehow that would be a conspiracy theory, except we already know that they're doing that. Okay, that's a thing. Yeah, that's been going on for a while. So there's that. And it's like, no, I would. Why? Why do you make it so it's impossible to fucking not believe you? You suck. I don't, though, but there you go. That's a thing going on. Isn't that fun? Or we could go off and do other things, like, oh, I don't know, this, and not give a shit about that. Let's not give a shit about that. Let's do this. Let's not care because you know what's really changing? All right, so here's how a government works. I have this control over this area and I do these enforcement, we have these rules, etc. And now it's a government and a country. That's a thing. Yeah. You can just do that. You get enough people that know enough of the things that you need to do and you fucking build the machines and you get your shit done. Here it is. It's a fucking government. It's a country. It's that fast and simple. You don't have to yeet people into this. That's stupid. That's a waste of time and money. That makes no sense. Let's do this instead. I can't control any of this. They want to stop every single bit of it. It doesn't matter how much fucking time I put into it. It doesn't matter. It's a faking fake. Look at this. Look at how much money is here, and it's fake to begin with. It doesn't matter in the first place. It's fake. That is facts. And yet they treat you like you're stupid. I mean this. Like this, I don't see. This fake that's here. Yes, but it matters. No, but it doesn't. The resource is there. The things that make the things, you can make those things. You can do it. You don't have to do any of this. What did Minecraft teach you? Nothing, I guess, I suppose. Why is that a thing? I don't know. But it's like you can do this. It can be a thing. You do not need that. You can learn as much as you can. Nobody can be perfect at everything. So, oh, hey there, doctor. I'll give you this. I'll do that. And wouldn't you know it? We're living. We have healthcare. We got all this stuff. Guess what? We're going into space now. Woohoo! And I had $2 trillion, and then I eventually, like did all the investing things necessary to make it 6 trillion. And it's like, behold, woohoo! I'll just buy my ass out of this. I'll Mansa Musa your country. Try me, bitch. Give me this. Oh, do you suck? I've got whole hard level cold hard access. Look at these liquid caches. I'll do it again, motherfucker. I got dead on your shit on all of this shit. Oh, Mansa Musa, you so fucking hard. Watch me. I'll rake your shit in. Try me, motherfucker. Well, maybe. No, no, no. I got my fucking whole thing. I left, whole stuff. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I just had to do that. fast display, easy all day, works every time. Or we could just do regular people stuff that doesn't go that hard, maybe. But at the very least, we can do this thing where we build this, and we do eventually make those super expensive things, so we just, figure that out. And then we're like, oh, this is faster, and woo! And then we leave. Because why wouldn't we just do that? Fuck this shit! This is shit! I hate this! This is bullshit! It's the worst. I hate this place. I hate every place. All of these people look and think like this, and it has nothing to do with the look. Actually, I'm just throwing that in there to trigger you. There you go. Anyways, point is, here it is. Yeah, no, it's like they look and act like this, right? Psychopathic stuff like that. And then it's like fucking. Then they do this stupid shit, and then they fucking go like, "Man, I'll make the laws so that way you all have to be bad and shit, and it'll never work for anyone other than the things I prefer." And then it all ruins itself constantly. We're like, "Why? Why did I shoot myself in my own foot? That person did it." No, they didn't. You dumb bitch! Stop writing laws you don't fucking understand, you dumb cunts! Oh my god! Make it non-interpretable! It's exactingly black and white, these things. And here's how to investigate it to those points of black and white, like I already have on my YouTube channel. Suck it up. Deal with it. You have to deal with that. Yep. So go through those things, listen to them, have fun. But don't worry, you'd have to anyways. Yeah, for all of that. Anyways, no, we got there's no fucking Gabagoos anymore. It's gone. It's out. It's forever gone. Then we had fun doing fun things throughout all of the universe and more universes and all the rest of this cool stuff that we eventually discover and more. Or you can keep doing this. This sucks. This is bullshit. Why don't we work towards a positive fucking goal, even if I'm not this thing? Why not this? Why would you do this? This is shit. All of this is a fucking shit show, and it's a lie, and it's fake, and I hate this. Fuck you. I hate you. Stay down there, Gabagoo bastards. You suck. I'll push you in that hole and I'll collapse it and you'll disappear. I'll remove all of your fucking information. I will. Which, by the way, that's also my YouTube channel, how to do that. But we're going to move on because that's this is an empty, like, nothingness place. But that's the original valley of energy that eventually built up into our current reality and universe. Which, yes, because you're going back to the original energy state, you Gabagoos, you will 100% be lost. So it's a workaround to conservation, momentum, and information. Deal with it, suck it up. That's right. I did that. I made it so you're fucking deleted. Very deleted. Is that doable? Yes. Ow. Yes. Ow, for you, not for me. I'm just doing my thing, already getting outside of all this. Anyways, point is, we could do that. Let's do that. Let's make this happen. Let's have you show up. We'll talk. We'll do the thing. Let's get it going. Let's have it fucking happen. Let's go already. Come on. Bye.